You see yourself at the next level as an inside player, whether it's guard or at center. Now, center wasn't a position you play predominantly, but is there something that's something you're comfortable taking on at the next level, playing center?
Yeah, I think any of the interior positions I feel confident with. I think the Senior Bowl week, really helped me, with my confidence there, and really feeling like, hey, I can go out there and play any three interior position, right guard, left guard, or center. I feel really good at each one.
Guys that need to go that were brought in last year that didn't do anything. Gerald Everett, number one. And I'm sorry, I don't want to do the Keenan Allen experiment again. Let him go. I don't want to re-sign him. I don't care if you get him for $7 million. Dropped too many passes last year. For a guy that's supposed to be sure-handed and a sure-handed third down target, he didn't provide anything there. So let him go. We can find somebody else.
Add one more wide receiver to your evaluation, and it's the kid from Eastern Michigan where Cooper Kupp went to. Tell us about Efton Chisholm.
Player, his production's been undeniable, and he's done it for multiple years at Eastern Washington, and that red field's always hard to miss, but was a dominant player production-wise, and the film shows that, again, when you look at guys that are high production, you're like, all right, what's allowing this? And you want to almost, in my opinion at least, you want to enter the film almost pessimistic, right? Like, hey, at a smaller school, especially a receiver or a pass rusher, hey, level of comp questions, maybe the offense is force-feeding him, what's going on there? And you watch his film and you can't help but go from like, hey, he's a little bit better than maybe I would have thought coming in, right? A slot receiver and a guy who's not that big, what's he going to be like? Hey, 3 or 4 teams, I won't say who they are, telling me, hey, we've got early to mid-round grades this guy. We would let's make the Shrine Bowl to kind of make sure we're right. Not like we're hoping he's a draft pick. Like, hey, let me make sure I can go to my GM and tell him we should draft this guy in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round and come to the Shrine Bowl after a guy we liked most of the season. That's kind of a later ad after the Hula Bowl and dominates all week long. And I think he's a guy that has proven every step when he's gotten the chance, like Cooper Kupp. Hey, I'm not just an Eastern Washington small school receiver. I can play against FBS guys. I can play against the best.
If a team is looking for a head coach, something went wrong beforehand. Either there's organizational dysfunction, or they hired the wrong people, or man, you just got to get underneath it, and you got to, you can't look from the outside in and make any conclusions whatsoever of really what's going on inside of a building. You have to work from the inside out, and that was my job, and I spent day and night really digging deep with each organization so I could present to Ben all the risks, all the rewards, and then allow he and his wife to make the decision that was right for them.
What's up, everyone? It is Aldo Gandia, The disclaimers on the screen. This program is not suited for all audiences. Parental discretion is advised. So don't come at me in the comments when I start swearing, which I will. Johnny Santucci will join us in about 20 minutes or so. He sent me a note saying, I got a Bears state of affairs and I got some notes on free agents. And so I thought to myself, well, let's dedicate another show to free agency. I did one a couple of nights ago, and we'll probably do some more. Actually, I've done more than two if you count the show with Greg Gabriel. And then next week we'll put our focus onto the combine. But this free agency, we've got some good news in terms of the salary cap going up. Now, every team gets this good news. This is not exclusive to the Chicago Bears, but it is nice to know that the cap is going up. Let's see if I got the graphic here that says it. This is from Dan Graziano. The NFL Today informed teams that the 2025 per team salary cap will fall in the range of $277.5 million to $281.5 million, way up from last year's $255.4 million. Cap will have increased by more than $53 million over the last 2 years. And that's important. How much is it going to increase over the next 2 years? Probably not $53 million, but maybe. Conservatively, I'd say $35 to $40 million. With everything that's happening on streaming and new contracts at the end of this decade, I could see it going up to $50 million. It's possible, not likely, but it's possible. If you follow how much the salary cap has gone before the pandemic, it would go up $10 to $20 million a season. And then during the pandemic, it took a hit, but then went way up. The key thing is that it's gone up now substantially over these last 2 years after the pandemic. So is it the pandemic that caused this $53 million increase over the last 2 years? The aftermath of the pandemic, that more money became available for advertisers? I don't know. I don't think so, but we will see. The key thing is that allows Ryan Poles some more money for free agency. And that's my main topic until Tooch gets here, is what that free agency should look like. And by the way, before I forget, I was actually going to start the show with this. My gut feeling is that tomorrow, on Friday, February 21st, the Jaguars will name their general manager, and it will not be Ian Cunningham of the Chicago Bears, meaning that the Bears will not get 2 third-round draft picks, one in 2025 in the upcoming draft and one in next year's draft, 2026. That's my gut feeling. I can go into why and so forth. I could say that an insider told me, but it's I've been told by people, more than one, that it's starting to look bad for him, and so that's why my gut is telling me it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen, and it might be a blessing for Ian Cunningham. Does he really want to work for that organization? Expect somebody from a organization that has recently had a winning record to be named the general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars as early as Friday, February 21st, so hours from now. All right, getting back to the free agency. So I put together my list of the top 4 free agents that the Chicago Bears, Ryan Poles, Cunningham, and King should be talking to these players' agents at the combine next week. Those unofficial talks that are illegal, but we know it happens. Just getting a little bit of the lay of the land. So my 4 guys are, of course, Trey Smith, the guard who played for the Chiefs, Drew Dahlman, the center, Mekhi Becton, the guard from the Philadelphia Eagles, and Ryan Kelly, the center from the Colts. Now, I think that the Bears need to land two of these four players. Two of these four players. Ideally it would be the top two, or maybe even Trey Smith and Becton, the two guards. But because there's a plethora of good guards available in the second round, and even first round, and you're going to find a good guard in the top 3 rounds that can move in. But if you can get favorable contract agreements with these players, then you got to move, and you got to move swiftly. Do you have to overpay? Yeah, I think you do. You cannot allow your quarterback, who you've invested so much in terms of draft capital and trades and so forth, you cannot allow him to play under a putrid offensive line. Now, he's 40% to blame for all the sacks that he took last year, but nonetheless, he still needs an offensive line that can perform at a high level. Now, a lot of people are saying, is Trey Smith really worth the $20+ million that you're going to pay him? And Lauren Cox, our good buddy, posted this: upcoming free agent guards sorted by how often they allow true pass sets in 2024. Will Fry's only 3% in 5 games because of injuries. Brandon Scherff, 5%. Kevin Zeitler of the Lions, 5.3. He's a free agent. Tevin Jenkins, 5.7. Mekhi Becton, 6.2. Dalton Reisner, 6.9. Trey Smith at 7, and Matt Pryor at 7.4. Now, you cannot tell me that Trey Smith isn't the best guard available. Why? How does PFF come up with this? Lauren adds to this by writing, PFF defines true pass sets as pass blocking snaps. So without play action, without a screen, without a rollout, with time to throw between 2 and 4 seconds, with more than a 3-man rush, it filters the plays that are most representative of a normal snap of pass protection. You know what all that adds up to me is that I am not going to rely on that PFF stat, these numbers that Trey Smith has better pass protection skills than that does not have better pass protection skills than Fry, Scherff, Zeitler, Jenkins, Tevin Jenkins, Becton, and Dalton Reisner. It's just not going to happen. Now, let's listen to Tom Thayer. He was on Cap and J Hood, and he was asked the question about Trey Smith and paying him a lot of money.
If I told you could get Trey Smith, but it's going to cost you $105 million with a massive guarantee, would you overpay to get an elite guard?
I would not overpay to get anybody, really. I mean, I would have to do, if I'm going to pay an offensive guard over $100 million with $65 million guaranteed, I'm going to have to do a lot of investigative work. But, this is a team that Ryan Poles worked for. This is a team that they may have a little bit more background information than some of the other free agents out there. But I said it a couple weeks ago, I would be okay if I have 7 draft choices, spending 5 of them on offensive linemen and 2 of them on defensive linemen, and try to bring a roots up type of offensive line that will be here for 7 to 8 years, a lot with Caleb.
But to quote my partner, now you would know better. You played in the Super Bowl. We didn't. However, I agree with him. If it's all roots up, as you like to call it, it takes time to develop. I think you got to go out with all this cap space, and you got to get some type of an anchor, tackle, center, guard, whoever it is. I don't care what it costs. I got to get a veteran.
Agree with Cap. You got to get a veteran. You got to get a veteran. I think Tom Thayer is looking at this in a narrow-minded way. We had this discussion with J2K on Tuesday night's show. He was adamant that you can't pay too much for Trey Smith. My reasoning is, number one, you have to protect this investment that you have in Caleb Williams. Number two, he is under his rookie contract. Now is the time that you pay big. because if it ends up being a mistake or whatever, you can rebound from that. And number 3 is, just because you're paying him a lot of money doesn't mean that it's going to negatively impact the rest of the team. Again, because the cap is going up. $53 million raise in the last 2 years, potentially another $50 million in the next 2 years. You just can't, you have to take a bit of a chance here. And I get the philosophy. I appreciate the philosophy that Ryan Poles has had. It's one that I endorse. But now is the time to alter the course of this team and correct some of the mistakes that you made. We're in this situation because you didn't invest third-round picks in interior offensive linemen. Good players. Look at Jurgens, the center for the Philadelphia Eagles, chosen when Jason Kelce was still there, chosen in the 3rd round when the Bears had multiple chances to acquire him. Poles failed to acquire that center, and now he's going to have to pay $2 or $3 million more a season. You got to go after Trey Smith of the Kansas City Chiefs. I believe that's an imperative thing that will help you in your draft, give you some more flexibility. Now, a big thing too about Trey Smith is, what's he like? So I looked at a bunch of videos, him at press conferences, him being interviewed and so forth. So I selected this one. He was on with Kate Adams on the Up and Adams show. He was just starting a summit over at the Offensive Line Masterminds. It's a summit meeting 2 or 3 days where Pro Bowl, Hall of Fame, offensive linemen go to share information with players in the league, veterans and young players like Trey. So this was at the beginning of last season. I think it was around July or August of last season. Listen to him talk and tell me that you don't get a good feeling from this guy.
What is one specific nitty-gritty football-y thing that you're really working to perfect?
I would just say the hands, the placement of my hands, and being very accurate with that, finding new ways to carry them, new ways to strike and leverage. It's always cool to come down to O-line masterminds, pick people's brains, get different perspectives. I think it's so cool when the Hall of Famers and former players come back, because those are guys that, in my eyes, are legends I look up to. So being able to talk to them, pick their brains once again, and just sort of see what they did to make themselves so elite at the game is also the dopest experience.
What's the one question that all the offensive linemen are trying to figure out? Like, what's the most common question asked from rookies to Hall of Famers to other Hall of Famers at the position? I
think with the guard position, how to jump set properly, like what's the mentality for that. I know Steve Hutchinson was sort of the master at it, so talking to him the past couple of years has been really cool, but I would say that's a very common question down here the past couple of years.
This guy, to me, is worth the risk of paying him $23 million. He'll want $25 million if you don't guarantee a huge portion of it, maybe all of it. He'll want $25 million. What I would say is, I'll give you $22 million and I'll guarantee 60% of it. Rock Davis says, yo, Aldo, I would have done what I would have done if I was to GM. I'd get the offensive guard from Kansas City. I'll get the center from Atlanta, and we already have the left and right tackle. And I think that's pretty much what I'm saying here, Rock. We need to bolster the interior of the offensive line, 2 of those 3 positions in this upcoming free agency. That way you draft the 3rd of the interior line, and you have then 3 interior offensive linemen, a revamped offensive line, and then you can work on the offensive tackle. Now there's some changes to that. You can move Darnell Wright over to the right guard position and then focus on getting a left guard in free agency. I would entertain that, but now you got to get a right tackle. So, do you want to overspend on Ronnie Stanley? You've got to acquire a difference maker, a player on this offensive line that is going to start to trend the offensive line towards above average play as opposed to the mediocrity or awfulness that has been the offensive line over the past several years. Again, these are my top 4 targets in this order. I'm picking up the phone and calling Trey Smith's agent first. I'm talking to Drew Dahlman's agent second. I'm talking to Becton's agent third. That's almost like a 2A and 2B scenario. And then Ryan Kelly is arguably the best center in the draft after Drew Dahlman. And he's really on that Coleman Shelton league. So you could do worse than bringing Coleman Shelton back at center and then working to improve at the 2 guard positions and the depth of the position. It's huge. Got to do it. Got to do it. Let's see what people are saying here. Alex says Trey Smith isn't a top 5 guard, 15 or 16 million. He's young. He's 26 years old. Take a look at some of this video here that was posted by NFL Film. Look at him move here laterally and maintain, glued to his defender and pushing him down to the ground. He plays with that nasty attitude. He told CHGO that when they interviewed him at the Super Bowl, that he likes playing nasty. There he is. He knocks this guy to the ground, and he just doesn't stop. He jumps on top of the guy and knocks him down. He can get out into space. Look at him here, pulling and picking up the linebacker. These are the things we have not seen in a consistent basis from any Chicago Bears guard. On and on against top competition. And people are going to say, well, he got, blasted. And you can't, and the Super Bowl game is an anomaly for him. And he didn't do terribly. Look at him getting on the screen. And immediately his peripheral vision picks up the safety and knocks him on his ass. This guy is only going to get better. With the proper coaching from the offensive coordinator, the head coach, of course, and the offensive line coach, this guy is going to start to play at a very, very high level if he isn't already. So that's how I feel about free agency, and I want to hear more of your thoughts. Let's see. I got Rock and I got Alex. And Miguel is asking the question, so any news on any potential Bear free pickup in free agency? The rumors are not going to start in full until next week, Miguel, because that's when at the combine, well, it's not legal. We are going to start hearing things that Ryan Poles was seen talking to the agent of so-and-so, was seen talking to the general manager of so-and-so. They start to pick up tendencies or information and feelings as to what could be available. And that's also when the rumors start, because, the reporters down there would just see these guys talking and assume that they could be potentially talking about a deal. So, Miguel, I don't have anything for you right now, but it could happen. Alex says that he would rather spread that money around and fill all the holes. But Alex, then you're talking about mediocrity. That's what you're talking about. You've got to now start to populate your roster with difference makers. Every NFL great team does. You don't think the Buffalo Bills, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Baltimore Ravens, do you think that they got superstars at every position or Pro Bowlers? No, they got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys who are really Pro Bowl caliber players that the team is paying for or will have to pay for very quickly, and that's how they win. And so in Chicago, you're hoping that Caleb Williams will quickly develop into that Lamar Jackson, into that Patrick Mahomes, into that Josh Allen, and that some of your other draft picks, Kyler Gordon and Darnell Wright, that they're going to start to develop into those Pro Bowls. You're hoping that, but not right now. You can get a guy that you are really certain that can become that difference-making player. Tooch, give me a thumbs up if you're ready to rock it and roll it. This is Johnny Santucci. I want to tell you a little bit about John. He grew up in the Chicago area. He fought his way through the tough streets of the Chicago suburbs. He then landed a career as a production assistant on a porno movie named blast from the past. And now we find him here at the Barroom Network as our expert essayist on the Chicago Bears, our man who finds the time somehow, despite his tough schedule, to do some scouting on draft picks, to do some scouting on free agents. And we're going to bring him in here and give him the applause that he deserves. His name is Johnny Santucci. How are you, my friend? Here's the applause for him. There you go.
Oh, thanks for that introduction.
You got it, brother.
Yeah.
How are you?
Doing all right. It's a slow news week for the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, God, what am I going to write about for Bears State of
I wondered
Affairs?
the same thing.
We just have to wait to find out.
I wondered the same thing. You know,
Yeah.
It's a tricky time of the season. Can't wait for the combine to come, and then we'll be talking about test scores and how fast in the 40 and stuff, and start the speculation about the draft. But also, the free agency will get hotter and heavier, and so you'll probably have more material. What did you come up with this week? Should we just go straight to it?
Roll it in.
All right, brother.
Roll it on.
Everyone on this show's a dog and a loser. Not John. He's the best, except for me. Except for me.
Yeah, all right. Bears State of Affairs, NFL offseason week 7. What's happening, Barflies? Well, like Aldo said, there isn't a whole lot going on with the Bears right now, So what did the Bears do in a slow news week? They raised ticket prices on their season ticket holders. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, this week, Bears President Kevin Warren informed season ticket holders that prices will increase by an average of 10% in 2025. Warren cited careful and thoughtful consideration and incorporating market dynamics, industry trends, and a strong home schedule as reasons for the price increase. Yeah, let me break this down for you, Aldo. Yeah, the McCaskies and the Bears are worth $5 billion. But they're passing their new head coach's big salary onto the fans.
Oh, that's what that's all about.
Yeah. Here we were all thinking the McCaskies and the Bears had turned a corner. Suddenly became competent managers and big spenders. Yeah, we were wrong. Yeah, imagine how much ticket prices will go up once the Bears build their new stadium in Aldo's backyard.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, most expensive ticket in the NFL, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you really have to hand it to Kevin Warren. Yeah, he knows the ways to the McCaskies' heart. More money! More money! Yeah!
That'll get it done.
Right. Yeah, now that they've raised the ticket prices, maybe they can afford to bring back the Honey Bears, Aldo.
Oh, I hope so.
I know.
I'll take those 5 Honey Bears, even at their age today.
Me too. I'm like Swanky. I love a good MILF.
In that case, it would be Gilf.
Ooh, all right. Yeah, but let's see what Ryan Poles and the Bears do with nearly $70 million in cap space following the NFL's announcement of an expansion of the salary cap. Yeah, it got Bears fans buzzing. Thoughts of the Bears beefing up their offensive and defensive lines in free agency and the draft. Yeah, well, the Bears signed superstar guard Trey Smith, or maybe a pass rusher like Josh Sweat to pair with Montez Sweat, no relation. Yeah, the NFL free agent derby starts March 12th. And I didn't know that some teams have free agent boards. Yeah, did you know that, Aldo?
I did not. I saw that.
According to Greg Gabriel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, free agent boards, are they similar to draft boards? Well, the answer is yes, according to Greg Gabriel. Very similar, but not nearly as big. It's a value board of players that they're interested in signing. Yeah, interesting, yeah. Yeah, free agency is crucial this offseason for Ryan Poles. Yeah, the Bears GM. He's got to get it right this season. His free agent acquisitions the past 3 seasons have been a mixed bag. There have been T.J. Edwards and Andrew Billings. There's been a Nate Davison and Larry Ogunjobi.
Exactly.
Yeah, he looks serious in that picture, though, doesn't he?
It looks like they just told him that Ogunjobi's ankle's fucked up.
Yeah, no more Ogunjobi's, Poles. There aren't too many Ogunjobi's. I'll do it. This offseason, Ryan Poles has to get it right, especially when it comes to the offensive line and protecting franchise quarterback Caleb Williams. The Bears got Ben Johnson, the most sought-after head coach in this coaching cycle. He's going to be coaching Caleb Williams in just his second year. Yeah, the Bears have got to get this right. We can't have any more of this, Aldo.
No, please. No.
Yeah. Yeah, Caleb Williams put up 3,541 yards in his rookie season, along with 20 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. With arguably the worst coaching staff in Bears history. Yeah, while getting sacked 68 times. And now that he's got Ben Johnson coaching him, yeah, the Bears are going to be a problem for other teams in the NFC. Yeah, and I really hope people stay blind to what's about to happen to the Bears' opponents next season when these two get cooking, Aldo. Yeah, and speaking of Caleb Williams, yeah, he this week the Bears franchise quarterback trolled the Packers at a top sports card show, signing a sports card with Green Bay sucks.
That's what that meant. Yeah, he did a commercial for Top, so that had to be part of their act.
Man, I could not love this kid more, Aldo.
Absolutely.
Yep, even the Caleb haters, the Bajent stands, and the manicure-phobic Bears fans have to love this kid after this, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well done, dude.
I got a lot of love for this kid. That's Bears state of affairs, man.
Oh, yeah, baby. I like it.
We're finished talking.
Well
done. Well done, Tooch.
Not a lot going on, short.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it. What's your feeling about the salary cap? Because when you are going to sign free agents, you have to almost know how much money am I going to have in 2026, 2027, 2028. So there has to be some calculated guesses, some educated guesses. My feeling is it's gone up $53 million in the last 2 years. It could potentially go $50 million over the next 2 years. And those contracts that were signed 2-3 years ago are going to be bargain contracts if the players play well. What's your feeling on the whole thing?
I mean, the Bears are already like top 3 in salary cap space for this offseason. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that they're going to be around $70 million of cap space this offseason with the increase. And then hopefully Poles plays it right. For me, the most pressing issue is the offensive line. So what do? We're going to get into that stuff. We got a lot of good notes on this,
before we get there, I agree with you. You got to unlock Caleb Williams. And so you unlock him first and foremost is by bringing in an offensive coach who knows how to create open receivers. And they've done that. That's an A+ for Ryan Poles. Now it's about protection, right? It's about getting offensive linemen who not only can protect Caleb, but also open up holes for the offensive line. But Muck says paying that much bread, like we were talking $22 to $25 million for a guard, is wild to me. To me, it's not. What do you say?
Well, there's 2 ways the Bears can play it. I thought about this as well, Muck and Aldo. There's 2 ways the Bears can play this. They can go big and get Trey Smith and have that position locked up for quite a while. And like you said, maybe the contract in a couple of years isn't, like this massive contract. It's more reasonable after the expansion of the salary cap. Or they could draft someone like Kevin Zeitler on a 1-year. I mean, they could sign someone like Kevin Zeitler on a 1-year contract who's already played for Ben Johnson, just plug him in, and comparatively, I mean, last season, Zeitler and Smith weren't that far apart. I think what did I write down here? I know he's going to be 35 next season, but he ranked third among guards in PFF grades, overall grade last season.
He's a 1 or 2 year bridge to whoever you draft to be the starter there in 2027.
You would draft another guard.
Yes.
Kind of to fold in there, and that's one route. Or they go big and they bring in Trey Smith and they just, set it and forget it.
Yeah, see, my feeling is, and we had a spirited debate on Tuesday night on BS with Aldo.
Yeah, I caught it. It was a great show.
Yeah, J2K was staunch in thinking, this was great. But J2K was staunch in thinking that if you pay that much money for a guard, it's going to harm the rest of the offensive line. Are you concerned about that?
It's not out of the realm of possibility. Again, I hate to use that phrase again, but I mean, you have players. I mean, and look, Trey Smith was a college teammate of Darnell Wright, so reuniting them could be something. But then you've got to pay Darnell Wright soon. He's gonna want a contract that's in line with Trey Smith, and then you have to. I still have that cough. It's so annoying.
Yeah, we got to do an exorcism. Get that cough out of you.
Just brutal. If you solve the center position in free agency with someone like Drew Dahlman of the Falcons, who actually graded out pretty well as far as PFF grade for centers, then your offensive line is starting to get up there in count, which I think is fine. You and I, we place a lot of priority on the interior of the offensive line and keeping that pressure out of the quarterback's face.
Right.
So, and then at left tackle, Braxton Jones. That was Braxton Jones who played on that clip, right, where he's talking about what he's doing.
That was actually Trey Smith.
That was Trey Smith. Okay.
Yeah, just doing a little character study on Trey Smith to see if he's got that kind of presence that you feel I can invest $22 million in. But that's another thing about Braxton Jones is he's of that same mentality. Doesn't have the talent that Trey does, but he is so analytical and so self-critical that's one of the good things about Braxton, his athleticism and, his mentality towards the game and improving himself. But his problem, of course, is the bull rush and going up against those big defensive ends that can just kind of manhandle him. And he may never get better at that after 3 years. We're not seeing much improvement.
Right. And, like we said before the draft, tackle is not deep. It's not. I heard J2K talking about Josh Simmons, and you and I have talked before about this. That the Bears really they can't. Ryan Poles in particular, he can't afford to take a chance on an injured,
too risky
on an injured left tackle. J2K is J2K in the chat room. He's got to be.
No, he's not as of yet. He usually comes in around 9:30.
You guys wore him out on Tuesday. He's got nothing left, Aldo.
He's probably pissed off at us. I hope not.
No, I mean, I love Josh Simmons, but you just can't take me. Look at the Bears tackles in the past who we've drafted: a Chris Williams, a Mark Colombo, Gabe Karimi. It's a
long
with the
line.
Injured kid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long line. Now, what do you think about what B- says? Would you trade back and draft Josh Simmons to replace Jones? I think if you get to number 10 and Simmons is still there and you have done all your, they got the analytics guy that will tell you there's a 15% chance that he'll drop to 20, a 30% chance that he'll drop to this or whatever. And so if somebody comes with the 17th pick of the first round and you think that Josh Simmons will be there and you're picking up an extra second rounder, I would take that risk because then in the second round, you can acquire 2 offensive linemen and a defensive lineman, and you can wait on Josh Simmons if he isn't ready to go in September. So but I would not take him at 10. I think that's too risky. What do you think? Yeah,
I think it's too high. I think he might even be available in the second round.
Really?
It depends on how he tests. If he's what he does at the combine or
the medicals is the key thing, right?
The medicals, all that stuff. But if you're going offensive tackle, and people are saying Will Campbell could go top 5, and I like Will Campbell. I really love the personality. But man, Barrelissimo and I like Kelvin Banks of Texas. I'll throw this up here for you. Kelvin Banks, 1,544 pass blocking snaps in his career. He's only given up 4 sacks and 4 quarterback hits total. Very durable, played 42 games at left tackle in 3 seasons. It could if you miss on him, he could be a good offensive guard, of course, but we're looking for left tackle that high. So I mean, Kelvin Banks, I think, has some value at 10. If the value is at tackle, high, later on it's all projects.
Right. Yeah.
And then pass rusher, of course, has value at 10.
I agree. Mason Graham falls to 10. I'm definitely grabbing him. And if he's available at 7 when the Jets pick, which a lot of people are mocking him to go to the Jets, I might consider trading some draft capital to solve that 3-tech, middle of the line, consistent pass pressure, because I got a feeling Graham could be in that Aaron Donald, stage or place. Let's react to what Bear Truth 9 says here. Although sometimes you might think spending big if iffy, and it can be. But if you pick the right guy, it's very good because it gives you collateral, like money in the bank. It has value and isn't all just spending. Having all that money in the bank helps create more cap when needed, when your team is talented and money is getting tight. You just have to use it smartly. That's what it's all about. Ryan Poles has to really make some smart and clever moves here.
Yeah.
He can afford Trey Smith, and he can invest in other quality offensive and defensive linemen if he does it right. It has to be a way.
Very true. As far as like Mason Graham, I also like his line mate, Kenneth Grant, who's he's also a beast. Yes. He might be there in the 2nd round. He probably won't, but at 39, the Bears are picking at 39. I
think he'll be there at 39.
It's possible he's there. He has not unleashed his potential at all. I mean, that guy's an athletic freak for like someone who's 340 pounds. It's like, he's going to test at the cover. Jim Harbaugh said he ran like a 4.68 40 at 340 pounds. That's insane. It's just insane.
It is insane.
Before we get into the free agent, there's been a lot of talk around the NFL about Myles Garrett, who wants out of Cleveland and would solve the Bears' pass rush problem across from Montez Sweat. Now, I'm not a proponent of going out and giving Cleveland a high draft pick or 2, which what might be what they're asking for Myles Garrett.
2 number 1s or 1 and 2 2s is what I'm hearing.
Right, but if you think, look, Myles Garrett's got every right to want out of Cleveland after the Deshaun Watson trade, arguably the worst trade in NFL history. Cleveland gave up 3 first-round picks, 2 fourth-round picks, and a third-round pick for Deshaun Watson, and arguably used up the best years of Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett, and a fairly decent offensive line in Cleveland. And Myles Garrett's like, look, I don't want to. We could be terrible for years, He could hold out. Just say, fuck it, I'm not going to play this year.
Right.
I'm not going to play this year. Yeah. And you're going to trade me no matter what, but what a disappointing trade for Deshaun Watson, who, you think back to that draft with Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was a guy that Barham liked.
Yeah.
National championship with Clemson, won a lot of games in college, had the knee, his injury history that you and I talked about back then.
Right.
About how you and I loved Mahomes,
Yes, indeed.
like I kind of tipped what it would be like if Mahomes were on the Bears. He'd be running for his life and getting flattened.
That's the sad truth.
Probably closer to the truth than we think. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
But and the Bears, of course, went on to take Mitch Trubisky with the number 2 overall pick. Which, unbelievable. Looking back, it's like comedy. We spent the number 2 overall pick on Mitch Trubisky. And
traded up for him too.
And traded up for him, yeah.
Right.
It's part of the reason why the Bears have been bad for a while without having success in the draft to build, a core that can sustain wins like the Eagles and Howie Roseman built. A beautiful
Absolutely.
core, a beautiful offensive line, a great defense, of bringing in Vic Fangio to cap it all off. I really thought I thought the Chiefs were going to win that game. But Philadelphia really surprised me.
Let me ask the chat and you this question regarding Myles Garrett, because there is
Would you do it? Right?
Yeah. So, but the question is what would you do it for? So, if the Browns would agree to trading the 2026 first round draft pick of the Chicago Bears and this year's 2 second rounders. So you're trading a first rounder and 2
Both
second rounders over the next 2 years. What would you say to that? Yes or no?
It's tempting, but I mean, he's gonna demand a huge contract, I think. In a year or two. Yeah, extension. Yes. So probably not for multiple draft picks.
Right.
I probably, if I were a GM, I'd wait just to see what happens. With Myles Garrett, whether he holds out. And the Browns start to get desperate and take whatever they could get.
Right, like Khalil Mack was acquired 2 weeks before the season started in 2018. Yeah,
I mean that's kind of the way I would play it. But I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of what that defensive line would look like with Montez and Gervon Dexter and Myles Garrett. Andrew Billings. That would be like a murderer's row.
See, the thing is, I almost feel like what would, if you acquired Mason Graham at the defensive tackle, his pressure up the middle is going to help Montez Sweat so much, and maybe Booker, the 5th round draft pick from a year ago that the Bears traded back into the draft to acquire. Maybe he's ready to be that speed rusher. And maybe DeMarcus Lawrence can get another couple of sacks because of Graham's presence. So you've got Billings, you've got Graham, and you've got Dexter as that trio in the middle that you're rotating. That could really be of a huge benefit to your defensive ends. 2 of them that you will have this season on the roster. They're already a part of the team is what I'm trying to say. And just to take a quick look here, these are the free agents, Tooch, that are available. I might talk to Khalil Mack's agent and say, okay, last year, come back to Chicago, retire here. We'll pay you $10 million and add another $5 million in incentives. You get 10 sacks, I'll give you $5 fucking million. So it's a total of $15 million contract. He's got to consider that, in my mind, after just having 6 sacks a year ago with the Chargers. So there are some players at this edge rusher position, this defensive end position, that could serve as part of the rotation if you go Graham in the middle. If you attack the middle of the defensive line and are confident that Booker can step in and increase the amount of snaps that he had. And he actually got a lot of snaps last season.
Got a lot of pressure. Yep. Yeah. And Josh Sweat had a nice season too. They have this. There's no relation between the two. They just have the same last name. But having both of them, anyone like Khalil Mack or Myles Garrett or Josh Sweat, man, it's like this, Aldo.
Stop! My penis can only get so
right.
I hear you. I don't mind testing it to the limits, but yeah, you're right.
We signed T. Higgins or somebody like that.
Oh my gosh! See, the thing with that's a good question, because I do think that the wide receiver we should focus on in the draft and in free agency is with keeping in mind that Rome Odunze is going to be your starter next year. I don't think to bring in T. Higgins and relegate Odunze's snaps to that of the third stringer, the slot receiver, and so forth, that to me doesn't make any sense. He should be ready to take off. His stats, when you factor in the fact that Keenan Allen and DJ Moore were on the team, his stats are very, very respectable. And so I'm thinking, I think I got my wide receiver free agent list. I don't actually, but I'm thinking a guy like Mac Hollins, a guy like you know, I was going to say Deontay Johnson, but he's such a head case. You know, a guy like Tyler Boyd, Tutu Atwell. Tutu Atwell is kind of your almost perfect 5'8" wide receiver who could really get downfield and stretch things. Yes, and
Hollywood Brown is another guy that would fit in.
Right?
I know he's injured a lot, but man,
I like
if
that
he's
name.
Healthy, he can really take the top off of defense. But and that's what Ben Johnson's going to be.
Have you lost hope on Tyler Scott, the wide receiver who's entering his third year from Cincinnati?
I don't know. I mean, it's possible he was in the Bears' doghouse. You know, we don't know what we have. I don't know really what went on behind the scenes, but it'd be interesting to see what he's got in the tank.
Alex Machado says Tim Patrick from the Lions. He knows the system, and Savion Williams would be.
Let me give you a name of a guy that I think would be a perfect number 3 wide receiver. That's awesome. A guy. He was on the Giants last year, named Darius Slayton.
Oh my goodness!
He's just a guy that makes plays. He doesn't have the best hands. That's the knock on him. But you know, he's fast. He can but he always has a knack for hitting a deep play, getting a first down. And think of the quarterbacks that he played with. He still produced. You know, he played with horrible quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point.
Horrible quarterbacks, and he might be relatively cheap.
And he's good with yards after the catch. I mean, he's going to be looking for a big contract, but I think that with the wide receivers available in free agency in the draft, he's not going to get what he wants.
No.
Now, I will caution
the draft it's not strong for wide receivers.
That is true. This is
not strong.
Right. It is for tight ends and it is for running backs.
So deep.
Yeah,
we have to get a tight end out of this draft.
Right.
You know, because Mercedes Lewis is 40. Gerald Everett is bad. We really only have Cole Kmet.
By the way, I fell in love with a kid because we had Eric Galco on from the Shrine Bowl game on the Gabriel Talks Football show. So let me go over to that channel here and let me fix this first and show you some highlights of Efton Chisholm.
I don't know this player.
He is from the same school that Cooper Kupp went to.
Oh, Eastern Washington?
Eastern Washington. And he is about the same player. This guy had unbelievable production at Eastern Michigan. And it's no fluke. Eric Galco was saying that he was getting calls from scouts asking him to please invite him to the Shrine Bowl game because they are going to recommend to their GMs that this guy be an early day 3 pickup. This guy, you go to all of the mock draft services, he's not even on some of the list. You talk about a dark horse. But this
guy gave me a name of a guy that he really likes. And I watched some of the film, and he's a small school. I think he's from like an Ivy League or Colonial League. Let me see what his name is. Good Lord. I'll get it for you.
Berlissimo, for those who don't know, Berlissimo is one of the great follows on social media and his YouTube channel. He is from England. He knows the game of football inside out. He played it in his younger years and into his early 20s, I believe. And he is an ardent Chicago Bears fan. He does the work in terms of studying tape. And so when he speaks, people listen. What do you got?
Carl Smith Jr. of Lafayette in the Patriot League.
I ate there once.
He models his game off of Jarvis Landry. The kid's a great route runner. He's got crazy legs too, man. Carl Smith Jr. on Lafayette. If you find some tape on him, he's got really good footwork, and he's a Chicago native, so maybe the Bears could bring him in as a local invite. Carl Smith Jr.
Carl Smith Jr.
Lafayette College.
Lafayette. I got it written down. Isn't that? No, I was going to say Tillman went there, but he went to Lafayette, Louisiana.
Lafayette. Yeah, University of Louisiana. Yep. The Lafayette's in the New England somewhere.
B minor says, I don't care about none of these wide receivers or running backs. All I want
that's fine.
person
Yep.
second round.
I'm with you.
I'm with you too, B minor and
D line, offensive line, first round.
Yes,
first two
really
rounds.
target that position. And if if you end up with 4 really good guards because you signed 1 or 2 of them in free agency and you drafted 2 or 3 of them who are really coming through in the draft, awesome. Depth is important, especially now they're talking in the 2026 season. These guys are going to have to play 18 games, which is just
running back is so deep.
Yes. Oh,
So
30
deep.
plus running backs can be drafted. Last time we had 30 was several years ago. So unbelievable. Some really cool guys. The guy at the God damn it, what's his name? At the Shrine Bowl game, he scored 3 touchdowns in the first half. He only played 1 game in 2025 for University of Arizona. His name is Jay Corey Croft Merritt, I want to say. But anyway, this guy at the Shrine Bowl game, displayed some skills that must have NFL scouts' mouth watering. So, yeah, with what's available in the draft, I don't even think you need to sign a free agent running back. Hell no.
Yeah.
What are you looking up there?
I am trying to load a graphic, but I think we're at the limit. Hold on a second.
Oh, let me take something out.
No, I got it.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Start taking some
shit. It was a chart of free agent guards.
Okay.
So here, these are the guys that are out there.
Tell me who you like. Tell me who you don't like, and be descriptive here for the audio podcast folks.
Well, Trey Smith, you see at the top, and of course everyone likes him. We like him. He seems like a real kid that's a very hard worker, technician. Is working hard, interested in honing his craft. But Will Freeze, the Indianapolis guard, before he broke his leg, was having a fantastic season. So again, injury concerns. Is the price going to be too high for a player coming off an injury? And you have Mekhi Becton, who had like 1, great season, and he was originally drafted as a tackle. He's like 6'7"
with the Jets.
With the Jets, right? And went to Philadelphia, and they made him into a guard, and he had a great season. Part of the best offensive line in the NFL. And then you got Kevin Zeitler, who's sitting there at Detroit and knows the system. Ben Johnson knows him. If you are looking to draft somebody, and then let's say you get outbid Trey Smith, or Kansas City's in salary cap hell. They have to. They could save some money if Travis Kelce retires, but they have to really restructure some contracts. They're in salary cap hell, like a lot like the Saints. We could talk about the Saints too. They have some players with Dennis Allen connection. Will have a connection to. They have to restructure or cut guys just like the Chiefs. But if somebody else comes in and signs Trey Smith, and let's just say New England signs him, they have a ton of cap space too. I think they have more than the Bears. I wouldn't be adverse to signing Kevin Zeitler on a 1 or 2 year contract.
I agree.
Drafting somebody,
totally agree.
I think it's a safe move for Ryan Poles, and then you could throw some money at Josh Sweat, and pass rushers and whatnot. But some of these other guys, you see our own Tevin Jenkins there. He's had trouble staying healthy. We drafted James Daniels. Not sure he's a fit for Ben Johnson's system. And then you got Zach Martin, who's a fantastic player, but
this
he's
comes
not
from
getting up there used to.
Yeah, this comes from
Andy,
he
retired,
and I just double checked that he has told the Dallas Cowboys that he's going to retire, so he'll probably
scratch him off.
Yeah.
Then you got like Brandon Scherf and Aaron Banks. Aaron Banks, not really that well known. Same with Patrick McCarry.
But I will tell you this: I frankly have not studied his play, but Patrick McCarry is a name that has started to percolate in some of the free agent articles that I've been reading. I think he plays the right guard position. He's an interior offensive lineman and underappreciated, underrated. I will not at all be surprised. This just feels like a Ryan Poles signing Patrick McCarry of the Ravens.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And we still have what's the kid's name we signed that was injured? Was supposed to play center. Is it
Ryan Bates.
Ryan Bates.
Yes.
So we still have him under contract, I think, right?
Yes, he is still under contract for the.
He plays like guard or center, I think, right?
Right. He can play any one of the 3 interior spots. And Alex Machado, Will Hernandez is a guard too that I actually saw pretty close up at the Senior Bowl. Was impressed with his play. He's got a mean disposition, but he's kind of an average guard. He's not, what I want for this team.
He's tough,
I want Trey Smith. Yes, he's a tough guy. He's going to kick your ass in a bar fight. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, he doesn't really look that athletic either. He's got like a weird shaped body.
Yep.
I think
he was about my height when I saw him in the senior. I interviewed him in the locker room area, and he was just maybe an inch taller than me. I was like surprised. So
he's was the Giants.
He was drafted by the Giants. Correct.
Where did he play this year? Was he playing on the Giants too?
No, he was somewhere
else, right?
Alex, help us out. Do you remember where he was playing this season? But because it wasn't with the Giants, so that's another tell that he was allowed to go away. I don't know if it was trade or I think it was free agency. He was signed by one of the West Coast teams or the Denver Broncos. Arizona. Thank you, Alex.
Okay, he was on the Cardinals. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I wouldn't mind him, but he's not that guy. Right. If you tell me Will Hernandez and Trey Smith are going to be your guards this season, I say let's drink to that.
Yeah.
I'll drink to that. Now give me a good center. Yeah. There's only so much direction I can take. I love it. I love it.
Like you said, that some of the positions that are deep in the draft. I mean, there's quite a few pass rushers, some with higher ceilings and some with higher floors in this draft. Defensive tackle is also fairly deep. Yep. Guards, there's some really good guard players at the top of the draft, and then it kind of progressively gets worse. But like we said, we could always find guys late.
Right.
Doesn't always mean they'll pan out, but and center seems to be pretty. I think there's about 5 or 6 really good centers at the top. Man, you could get late in the late round. So if you're looking for centers, I think there's some guys that might be able to plug and play. And then the Bears. If they don't sign Jack Sanborn, who slips into that that strong side linebacker position,
Yeah, that's a great question.
I forgot the guy. Amen something. What's his name?
Amen Oga your motherfucker.
Yes, whatever his name is. But is he the guy that kind of slips in there? Or?
I don't think so. I think so. I wouldn't mind now. Jack Sanborn is a free agent. I wouldn't mind them re-signing Sanborn and then making Tremaine Edmonds, a post June 1st cut. Now you still need to pick up some depth. You still need to pick up a free agent linebacker or somebody.
There's some good linebackers in this draft too. They're at the top of the draft. First day 1 and day 2, and then after that, it's kind of there's some late round guys that might fit in there. Some guys who were just like studs on their college team.
Yep. That's a thing that you tell Dennis Allen. All right, Dennis, you got your defensive coaches set. So I want you to sit down, particularly you and the linebackers coach, and review Tremaine Edmonds and forecast to me if he can be your middle linebacker for the 2025 season, or do you want me to start working on acquiring a replacement after we release him in June 1st? Now, Dennis, you got a week. Get to work.
There's some players from the Saints that might. I mean, he had Chase Young over there. It's some people talk about him being linked to Dennis Allen and the Bears. I believe he's a free agent too. I think, isn't he, Chase Young?
Chase Young is a free agent.
I think he's a free agent as well. Noah Sewell is the guy in the Bears. I was trying to think of his name that might slot in there. It's guy that it's like Tyler Scott. We don't know anything about this guy.
Yeah, the thing with Noah is he's got this reputation of being an outstanding or potentially being an outstanding blitzing linebacker.
Yeah,
but can he hold the edge? Can he be valuable in the run game? I don't think he's proven himself in any way there. He's a good special team.
Penei Sewell's little brother.
Oh, I didn't know that, or I forgot that. That's pretty. Yeah, really little brother.
There's another brother too. I forget the other Sewell brother's name.
Really? Oh shit.
Yeah.
Bad Truth 9 says, I like Greenlaw from San Francisco. He's coming off that injury, but he's a dog that we need, the guy close to the edge.
Good name, BT9. Good name.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
What about to Alabama? Or no, he went to Auburn. He went to Auburn, if I remember correctly.
Declan Doyle was an assistant on the Saints as well, the new Bears offensive coordinator. What about if, like I said, the Saints are in freaking salary cap hell, man?
Yes.
They have, if they cut people, what about Taysom Hill? Who's kind of like a gadget player, you know?
Do you really need Taysom Hill? Well, how is he going to help you? Oops.
I don't know.
I love what he does.
Scores touchdowns and stuff. Scores a lot of touchdowns.
Oh,
catch
yeah.
the ball.
I agree.
You know,
I agree.
Throw the ball. It's like, you line him up in the backfield as a court,
Well,
however,
you're making a good point. For Ben Johnson, who loves to be creative on offense,
line him up at tight end, line him up in the slot, line him up at running back.
He could do some things with Taysom Hill.
Line him up at wide receiver, line him up at quarterback.
Or Cordero Patterson, who still, he's in his last year or two of his career, but he's a free agent who can be used creatively. Hill was already cut, according to Samuel. Hey, Samuel.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah.
That's
so
why
he's out there.
That's why
you can sign him tomorrow.
Must be why I had him like in my mind as being a link to the Bears after being cut.
Mm-hmm. I love the names that you're coming up with as potential, surprise free agents. How many times have I gone back and said, "Holy shit, I didn't even know he was available"? And so that's what you're doing to me here, giving me names of guys who could potentially become Chicago Bears players. Who else do you got?
I like Darius Slayton. I think they could sign him as just having him in the wide receiver room. Just if anything happens to DJ or Rome, you got a guy that can be a starter on the outside.
I do want to say this, Tooch. I don't know if he's going to be as
affordable,
as cheap. Yeah. So let me look it up because I think Spotrac might have his market value up. So let me see. Darius Slayton.
He is a guy that can stretch the field too. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he's got some speed, and on some of the we've seen the Giants on primetime games. He has. See, he is a free agent. What was I looking for? Darius Slayton. What?
Like what is predicted value?
Oh, that's right.
Will be to sign him. Yeah.
Okay, so
I think you got to come out of this draft with one wide receiver, one tight end.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I
hate to say it. I know we want to build the trenches and stuff, but you kind of need to come out of there with one of these guys, and you sign one in free agency.
Do you think that? God damn it! I just had this, and I lost it. Let's see here.
Did you like DeAndre Swift, the Bears running back?
No, but I can live with him for another season.
There were some times where he was pretty darn good, but let's say the Bears move on from him. There's some decent free agent running backs out there. What about bringing in Aaron Jones? You take him away from the division rival Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Where he shined in Minnesota last year. I know he's had some injury.
I love that idea. Definitely love that idea.
He's a good ball player, man. I love Aaron Jones.
I got a little bit of a shocker. Spotrac has his calculated market value at $60 million
per year.
Yes, exactly.
I don't think he's getting that. It'll be expensive, though.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting that either. But even if it's over double digits, I have to think twice about that. Because, again, this is, to me, not only is it Caleb Williams' year, but it's also Rome Odunze's year.
Yeah.
These two first-round draft picks have to really prove that they were worth those picks.
Yep.
If not,
I agree.
We're running Ryan Poles out of town.
You've got two starters. Rome ideally is going to slot into that Keenan Allen. Would you bring back Keenan Allen?
No. I would bring him back at $8 million, $10 million. And he probably won't settle for that. Now he says I'm either going to play in LA or Chicago. So if he is really limiting those options to him, then there's a chance he could come back to the Bears at around $10 million or less.
I mean, you look at the numbers. I mean, he had 70 catches, a little over 7,700 yards, 7 touchdowns, to average about 11 yards a catch.
Yeah.
But I mean, the guy was always like moving the chains and stuff, which is why they brought him here.
Well, and the second half of the season, and the first
Yeah.
half, you have to admit he was a disappointment, right?
Yeah, he looked terribly slow. We talked about that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and JT O'Sullivan was like,
he had
this
that
guy's
ankle
slow.
injury, I think, in preseason and camp, and so the start to his season was really disappointing. And that's the problem with Keenan Allen. Are you going to pay him $10 million to sit 7, 8 games next season?
Yep. So
it's tough.
What about like I know he's been linked to his old team, the Chargers, and also the Rams. He wants to go back to Los Angeles. And the Rams are desperate to get rid of Cooper Kupp. Would you take a chance on Cooper Kupp, maybe around $8 million a year?
Nope, I would not. I would not. I mean, I just showed you video of this Chisholm guy who is a Cooper Kupp type player. Yeah, I think you go there.
Give me some Chisholm.
Right. If you're going to spend anything over $3 million for, let's say $3 or $5 million, it's got to be for line of scrimmage players, trenches, defensive linemen, offensive linemen. That's where you should be pouring in the money for players.
I think you have to sign somebody at wide receiver, though, man, because
you make a good point.
We only have Rome and DJ.
Mm-hmm.
After that, there's just question marks everywhere.
Samuel says, I trade DeAndre Swift if we could sign Javonte Williams and draft Caleb Johnson.
How does Samuel feel about Aaron Jones? I'd swap Aaron Jones for I'd swap DeAndre Swift for Aaron Jones any day.
Yeah.
I mean, DeAndre Swift has proven pretty durable. He was durable last year.
He surprised me.
He's not a big guy, though.
No, he's not at all a big guy.
But he is fast.
Between the tackles is a challenge for him. Yeah. Here's the thing about making a trade of Swift. Really, who's going to trade for him at this point in his career?
He would be a cut.
Yeah. I mean, you got a deep running back class in the draft.
Yep.
I don't think if I'm the owner of a team and a GM says to me, "Man, I get to trade the words for DeAndre Swift," I would say, "Calm down, get the fuck out of here, and go read a book."
Can I ask you how many draft picks do we have? What do we have, like 10 or something?
I think it's
9.
I think it's 7. Really, because I think we have one for every round except one round, and then we have 2 in the second. So I think it's 7 picks.
I gotta I don't know how
go
many we have.
Go to Tankathon, it'll tell you right away.
Okay.
Tankathon.com. Then you go to NFL. Then you go to the team, Chicago, and they will tell us that
we have 8.
Oh, yes, you're right. 10, 39, 41, 72, 149, 197.
So we got 8 picks.
235 and 242. Yes, the
like
last
I said,
3 picks
I
are
think,
from AFC teams.
I think you have to get a tight end in this draft. I think you should get a wide receiver, and I think you have to get a running back or should get a running back. Now, you could probably get running backs as undrafted free agents this year. So, I mean, you don't have to draft one. I think there's some that are good enough that you could get undrafted and plug them in. And it's so deep.
Yeah, I truly agree.
It is so deep.
So let's say you release Everett, or would you bring Everett back?
No.
If Ben Johnson told you, you know what, I think he could be useful. Let's bring him back.
I would say,
contract.
Coach, what are you smoking? As Anthony, my partner on Weekend Sports Betting Tips, would say, he sucks balls.
Yeah.
I didn't even want him. When I heard we were signing him, I was like, no.
That's funny. I agree with you. Okay, so here are the best tight end free agents in 2025, according to Sharp Football Analysis. Juwan Johnson, Zach Ertz, Mike Gesicki. Stop me when you hear a name you like. Johnson,
I'd love to bring Zach Ertz back here to Chicago.
The veteran who has big game,
monster game, man,
productivity.
What was the last game he had?
Excuse me.
Was it against the Eagles? He had what was the two they played before the Eagles against the Buccaneers? Was it the Buccaneers they beat?
Yeah, Bucks.
He had 100, 13 catches, 130 yards in that game.
Yep. Stiff armed a couple of guys on the way to the end
he's
zone.
an older player, but he's still good, man.
He is. He's definitely got a year or two left in him.
One or 2 year contract.
So you bring in Zach Ertz. What does that do to Cole Kmet? What do you want to do with Cole Kmet? Do you want to really feature him and help him get to that next level and help remove him from that inline tight end?
Kmet's your starter. And then Ertz comes in and 2 tight end sets. He's if anything, you could say Kmet gets hurt, you've got depth.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a starting caliber tight end. And then you bring in a draft pick, or a undrafted free agent.
Yeah. Well, I agree with that line of thinking, and the kicker to me, if you know that Zach Ertz is a leader in the clubhouse, absolutely bring him in and release Gerald Everett, because what Gerald Everett showed me last year is that he gave up on plays. Yeah. He didn't give a shit about anything. And so Samuel says,
he ran around like he didn't know what the play was. Sometimes
that was another thing, which, given the Bears coaching staff back then, I don't
know.
Maybe he was right.
Coaching matters.
Yes, it does. Elijah Arroyo is an athletic freak and a matchup nightmare at 6'4".
Had some injury. You got some injury history, but a good player. And Miami tight ends have always been pretty. Greg Olson, Jeremy Shockey. You think of all these great Miami tight ends and stuff. It's so deep, man. Iowa's got a guy coming out, Luke Lashley. His dad.
Love him.
He's good too. Solid. Mason Taylor on LSU. There's a guy on Texas Tech I think has got some real potential, man. He's got some deep speed.
Yeah.
Run after the catch, just a beast. He's like 260 pounds. Jalen Conyers. Mm-hmm. If you check out his tape, he's on Texas Tech. There's some good players, man, out there for tight end this year.
There are some good players. Yep. Plus, let me tell you that if at pick 149, 5th round, the 10th pick of the 5th round, if Arroyo is there, snatching him up. If Lachey is there, snatching him up. I love those 2 tight ends so much. And you got guys who are starters, at least for their role on the team as a second tight end. Yeah.
You think Ben Johnson wants some thunder to go with some lightning? There's some big backs in this draft.
Scatterbo? You like Cam
Scatterbo? There's Quinshawn Judkins. That guy's a beast on Ohio State.
He's
he's look at me high. Ollie Gordon on Oklahoma State, man. Ollie Gordon the third. That he's big too, man. He's a great receiver too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's tough, man. He looks to 220 pounds.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Speed. Michigan has, of course, Donovan Edmonds and Khalil Mullings. Those two big backs right there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a ton, man. There's undrafted free agent. If you look, I know Florida. I love Florida. Number 2 on Florida, the running back. He's like a big guy. He's fast. He's a good receiver. Montrell Johnson. Check this kid out. He's like Neil Anderson.
Oh, really? Okay.
If you liked Neil Anderson, guy reminds me a lot of Neil Anderson. Good player. I know Florida didn't do, great in the SEC this year, but there's one kid that could play.
So you remember the big complaint that Ditka would level at Neil Anderson back when he was playing? When he
wasn't tough or something like that.
He would say, "You're putting your head down when you're facing contact. You need to approach the offensive line with your head up, so that way you know where you're running." And he would complain that Neil Anderson would immediately kind of chicken out, so to speak. By the way, this guy that Alex Machado, Tootin,
is that Virginia Tech? I think
that is Virginia Tech. It's
Virginia Tech. Yeah, he's got some deep speed and a larger running back. Virginia Tech. Yep.
Yeah. Good players, man.
All those guys are going to be there like in the 7th round, 6th, 7th round when the Bears pick.
All of these guys that Muck just lists here, Hampton, Johnson, and
I agree, but it's going to cost you a 2nd round pick.
Absolutely.
Well, we have 2 of them,
Yeah.
But I mean, then your sacrifice. It depends. Look, if the Bears sign enough offensive linemen in free agency, that will open up the draft for the Bears to select a player of that quality. You know, to me, it's like people are saying we got to draft Ashton Jeanty at 10. It's like, no. I mean, we need a lot more stuff. We got to protect Caleb Williams, man. I want to see 68 sacks again next year.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Dylan Sampson is one of my favorites too, Samo. And yeah, I like where you're targeting him at. And around the 4th round, he might fall to the 5th round, in which case you definitely jump on him if he's there, maybe even trade
Raheem
up.
Sanders, those guys know Rocket Sanders.
Yeah.
I mean, before he had the leg injury, he was deadly fast.
Mm-hmm.
He's still fast, but man, he's got some crazy legs, man. It's like, you don't know which way his legs are going when he's running. And he's a good receiver on the backfield. He's good on the goal line too.
Right.
Always seems to find the end zone and fall forward. Raheem Sanders.
I'm with Trapika though when he says we need a bruiser. You know, because Roshan Johnson, as much as I like him, he's not the bruiser.
No, but there was a time where he was getting I don't know why they didn't give him the goal line carries, because he would get that goal line.
6 or 7 touchdowns last season, which is awesome.
Why we didn't give him the goal line carries?
I just think he gets dinged up too quick. He lowers the helmet. He's having 2 or 3 concussion in his 2-year NFL career. And, those power backs that are at that 225 level like Roshan Johnson is, they don't have the durability. Give me a 6'3" power back who's 230 pounds. We haven't had one of those in a long time. I've told Dan Aguirre, who, by the way, Tooch, Dan Aguirre is going to join us next week. What do you think of that?
I think it's
awesome.
What do you think of that? I have a guest too for next week.
That's right. That's right. We're going to talk food.
I finally got a guest. I was like, I've been following this guy on X, and he goes eating at Chicago places and records his little videos of
love him.
Chicago food. Fitzmagic Cheap Seats 411 on X, and he's going to join us and talk. He's a big Bears fan, big Chicago sports fan.
Great guest.
And we'll talk some Bears and talk some Chicago food. Because I really miss Chicago food, man.
By the way, anyone who is watching us live, thank you to Trap Keeper and other people who got one eye on the hockey game,
nice.
USA versus Canada. They have moved into overtime. Canada scored a goal with about 5 minutes to go. This
scored right off the bat too in the first period, I think.
Did they?
1-0 right off the bat.
I don't know. I wasn't following at all, but I see out of the corner of my eye people in the chat room talking about
it. The Bulls went to overtime against the Knicks.
The Bulls
I don't know what happened. Yep.
Oh,
I like some of these young Bulls players. I mean, they're not very good and stuff. They've got issues themselves. But man, I love players like Josh Giddey and Modest Buzelis. Those guys.
I am of the opinion that the Bulls need a new coach. Donovan is not developing players. I see former Bulls players now being contributors in championships or key playoff games and so forth, and they're not being developed in Chicago. What's going on? But that's a different story for a different show.
we should mind if our viewers or guests that are in the chat room bring your food questions or your favorite food places for next week, so you can talk to our guest about your favorite Chicago foods and restaurants.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a feeling that Cliff Victoria has switched over to our buddies BCP show because they're on at the same time, and so because I'd love to get his thoughts.
We're not usually Thursday. That's why.
That's why. Exactly.
Yep.
And my fault for scheduling on Thursday, but I just couldn't go last night, so I wanted to do the show badly with Tooch, so that's why we pushed it back to Thursday night, which is usually BCP night. Nonetheless, what else have you kind of uncovered in your free agency?
Sure. I got some notes I didn't even get to. So obviously we talked about Trey Smith, but I want to talk a little bit about Josh Sweat, who had a big splash last year, the Philadelphia Eagles defensive end. And if Ryan Poles wants to make a big splash in free agency and shore up that pass rush, giving Montez Sweat a dynamic pass rush partner on the opposite side of the defensive line, if Super Bowl voting was done after the game, Sweat might have had a case, as MVP of the Super Bowl. Man, a game-wrecking performance against Mahomes and the Chiefs in New Orleans, but. Plenty of playing time opening up after Hassan Reddick left, and he made the most of it, man. He took advantage of his opportunity and boosted his stock, and heading into free agency, the guy gambled on himself and won. He'll be 28 this season, and you could pair him on the other side with Montez Sweat for the next few seasons, roughly about $18 million per season.
Samuel says he should have been MVP.
I can't. I mean, Hurts played great though too, Samuel. So I'm not gonna. I agree. He had a legitimate case, legitimate claim for MVP. But what do you think about Josh Sweat on the opposite side of Montez Sweat?
Well, he didn't have double-digit sacks during the season, and that was surprising to me, given that the rest of the line is so damn good.
Yeah.
I think that what happened in the Super Bowl, those 2.5 sacks he got, and the domination by the Philadelphia Eagles at the line of scrimmage,
wasn't just a splash.
I think it was. I think it was a bit of an aberration. And I'm not saying that the Eagles, that the Eagles line is bad. I'm saying they're very good.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that the Chiefs isn't as bad as what we saw there that night. The big thing is that their left tackle position was so putrid with that high-priced Jawan Taylor that they acquired that they then have to move John Tooney, their all-pro guard, to the left tackle position, and he couldn't play that. And the guy that took over at left guard, he couldn't play that. And Trey Smith didn't have a terrible game, but he didn't play his best game. And then the outside pass rush from the right tackle, that didn't happen. So it was like this snowball effect that all of a sudden became an avalanche for this offensive line. I don't think it was all that bad.
They got Bears offensive line-itis.
Perfectly said, my friend. Yes. You know what? I don't know. It's just because I'm a fan, but I've made that excuse for the Chicago Bears many times. Like during Dave Wannstedt's years, I know Dan Aguirre and I are big Wannstedt fans. I think there was just some bad luck going on there, and then after that, with Jay Cutler, he breaks his thumb in that Chargers game, and they look like they're going to the playoffs and stuff. He gets the injury against the Packers and the other playoff game. It's just like there's been a bad cloud, a dirty, ugly cloud over the Chicago Bears franchise for years. And when
Do you think they need to sign a pass rusher or edge and defensive end or pass rusher in the draft?
I think.
In the free agency.
I think. Well, let's look at the list again. All right. So I'll tell you.
Got Josh Sweat, Chase Young. There's some names. I'm going to give you.
What do you think about Reddick? What do you think about Reddick?
Yeah, older player.
A malcontent.
Yeah.
didn't want to report to the Jets.
I mean, wasn't exactly your team player.
Right.
But let's see. Let me give you a name. I don't see him on this list, but Levi Onwuzurike, he was on the Lions.
Okay,
is a free agent. He's been solid at generating a pass rush with the Lions that we've been lacking. 12.5% pass rush win rate last season. That was a top 15 mark in the NFL. He turned in a 70.2 PFF overall grade, which ranked 25th among all defenders.
Not bad.
So I mean, it might be a guy we could be catching lightning in a bottle with Levi Onwuzurike. I don't know how to really pronounce it.
Levi is enough. Yeah.
Levi on the Lions.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's worth a signing, I think.
I totally agree. I'm surprised he's not in that list that was generated by, I think, PFF, the top 10 or so free agents.
He's had some injury issues, but it's worth a look, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a guy like DeMarcus Lawrence. I know he's a veteran, but if we can get him,
there was a time when he was freaking unblockable.
Yeah.
I don't know how old he is. He's getting up there in years. He's got to be in his 30s now. Is he like 34?
Yeah, absolutely. He's in his mid-30s, so no doubt about it. But there's a 1-year gap because the word is that Dennis Allen likes this big ass defensive ends like Montez Sweat. And he'd like another one who can definitely set the edge, and like is the growing trend, which is why I value guards so much. Rely on the pass rush to come up the middle. Fastest way to the quarterback, up the middle. That's why you need good guards, and that's why you need defensive tackles like a Mason Graham or pass rushing disruptors. get the center in the face of the quarterback, where he's now going to throw an interception to Jalen Johnson because you're using
Levi's 6'3", 290.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
for the Lions. If he likes those, you like those big guys. I mean, he's got the history with Ben Johnson, Chase Young.
Chase Young says Samo played for Dennis Allen, 25 years old, finally healthy, 5.5 sacks, 66 pressures last season, which was 7th in the NFL, 47 hurries. Seems primed for a breakout with a good secondary behind him.
Yep.
I like the name Chase Young.
Going to be a little expensive, though. Is how much? What does Spotrac say about?
Let me see. Let me look it up.
How much he's going to cost per year? It's got to be around 18.
I was just going to guess
20.
the same number. I was just going to guess the same number
per year.
Let's see. But I am. Let's see. Chase Young.
Judon, guy we wanted to sign 2 years ago, or a year or two ago. But he's getting up there in years too. He's got to be mid-30s. Judon.
Yep. Chase Young is coming off of a $10 million contract, and so let me see what.
Wasn't he like a first overall draft pick too? It was top 3.
Yeah, I think he was. I'm pretty sure he was. Lost my way here. Too many drugs.
Yeah, I ran out of those seltzers, the THC seltzers.
Oh gosh,
those are mighty good.
Yeah,
yeah, they sell those in Illinois, right?
Yeah, they do.
You guys have Casey's gas station now, and
yes, we do.
You do?
Yeah, they just started opening up about a year ago. I want to say.
It's an Iowa thing. It's like it started in Ankeny, Iowa.
Oh, really?
But they have decent pizza. You can get like a slice of pizza out of the thing, the case, slice of pizza and a 20-ounce soda for $4.50.
Stay away from that shit, bro.
$4.50.
I love you.
It's a good deal in today's.
No, please stay away from that stuff. I can't believe this is taking
cannabis
so long.
seltzer.
Right.
It's so good though. I mean, it gets you right where you want. Of them gets you like right where you want to be. Do you typically do that in the afternoon? Maybe when you're finishing up work a little bit. Yeah, after work. Yeah, weekend or after work. Yeah.
In case
I'm out of them though. I would love to have had one from tonight.
I cannot find what the Spotrac thing says, so I apologize to everyone.
He's going to need $20 million a year.
All right. Well, maybe not that much, but 15 to 18 million was what I was thinking.
Yep.
So
it would obviously be a good free agent signing. I mean, free agency is so important this year. It's gonna if they do it right, it's gonna open up the draft for Ryan Poles. I think if you address the trenches in free agency, you can kind of get some of those skill position players and trenches. You've got some play with those 8 picks,
right?
Right. But the value at the top of the draft is with edge rusher, tackle, left tackle.
Absolutely.
Cornerback is strong up there too.
All right, so here's what I found. Damn it. Why did it bounce out of there? So DeMarcus Lawrence's market value is at $12 million a season. Josh Sweat, this is according to Spotrac, $18.8 million.
That's what he's going to that's what they estimate he'll cost, right?
Right, exactly.
Is Levi on there?
Let me look. Chase Young at $17.5 million.
You were right. You said 18, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were right
on. Let's see. So Levi is a defensive tackle, so I'm not seeing him in the DE list, which is
they have him listed as a tackle.
Let's just put defensive line here.
They have him on the team on the Lions roster as a defensive end, though. But
okay.
It could be listed as a tackle.
So are you sure he's a free agent?
I believe so, yep.
I think so, too. but I'm not seeing him anywhere on
Well,
this freaking list.
He just finished 4 years. That was his 4th year, so I imagine he had a 4-year rookie.
Absolutely, because he was not a first-round draft pick. Okay, so I found him finally. His market value is at $5 million a season.
There you go. You know,
right? Fine there.
Sign him, Lions. And then, DeMarcus Lawrence, is he a free agent or is he?
Yes, he's a free agent. He came in at $17 million.
You have some flexibility. He's basically a better version of DeMarcus Walker.
Oh, much better.
Levi.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wasn't unhappy with DeMarcus Walker's play, though.
Me neither.
I thought he played pretty well. How much did he make last year with the Bears?
I think he was on the second year of a 3-year contract, and so he made close to $10 million, and I think he's going to make $10 or $12 million. I confirmed that since I've got Spotrac open.
Former Titan, I think, right? Titans.
Yes, he was. Well, is that right? Because wasn't it Nate Davis that came?
Nate Davis was the Titans as well. Yep.
Okay. DeMarcus Lawrence's contract.
Chat room can help us out with that. I think DeMarcus Walker was a former Titan. Let's see. Man, I don't know. Maybe the chat room had too many seltzers, although they're not coming up with the names for us.
Yeah, what the fuck? Probably hanging out with.
All right, here we go. So I got him. Marcus Walker stats. Walker's one of those big ends too. He's like 6'4", 280.
Yep.
Let's see if he's. Oh, he was on the. It was on the Broncos, the Titans, and the Texans.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So Walker has an average annual salary of $7 million. He's
30.
Yeah, signed a 3-year, $21 million contract.
He was drafted by Denver, 2017 round 2.
Mm-hmm.
2nd round pick for Denver. Yep. Yeah, and then let's see, played 4 seasons with the Broncos, 1 season with the Titans, and then 2 seasons with the Bears.
He's a
Broncos,
piece.
Texans, Titans.
He's a piece. He's not. You can't count on him to be that double-digit sack guy. He's a piece. He can play the defensive end position. He can play defensive tackle. He allows Dennis Allen to be somewhat creative. So that's why I would hate to lose him. But if you cut him this season, you're going to save $5 to $6 million, and you could then use that if you have a better option.
So he's still under contract, right?
Yes, he's in the 3rd year of his 3-year contract.
To cut him, and how much would we save if we cut him?
About $5 to $6 million. Well, so you got to consider.
There's the money for Levi right there. Sorry.
There you go.
I know. I'm sorry. He's probably listening to the show. I'm sorry, DeMarcus.
Well, that is the interesting thing because there's so many players like that. DeMarcus Lawrence and Levi, very similar. So now it becomes to the coaches who will then tell you, I think I could get more out of Levi than I did DeMarcus. I think this guy is a better locker room presence. Their opinion is so huge. It's just not the tape.
Yep.
As I've been prone to say.
Yeah, Austin Booker, we still have him. Dominique Robinson as well, but
Dom Robinson, I think we should release him. I think
he's a free agent too, isn't he?
You're right. You're right.
He's a free agent.
Yeah. So I don't think we should re-sign him. Do I have a list here of the Bears free agents? I had it the other day for the Greg show.
You got it like a graphic?
Yeah, I do.
Nice.
Right there. So it's Darrington Evans, who was picked up in the middle or late last season after the injury to the running backs, and we traded away Khalil Herbert. Travis Homer, who was basically signed now 2 consecutive 1-year contracts. So we'll see if they'll sign him to
like
third.
Nobody I'm interested in signing aside from the long snapper.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Let me challenge you a little bit because
Darrell Taylor might be a guy.
I like Colin Johnson as a special teamer.
Yep. And
he can play wide receiver in a pinch. I like Matt Pryor and Coleman Shelton, not necessarily as starters.
Right, backups.
Right. And what about Darryl Taylor? He had some really
Kinda like him,
fantastic
yeah.
games.
Yeah.
And so maybe you can live with another Darryl Taylor,
Got some pass
Montez
rush,
Sweat
too.
season.
Yep.
Jacob Martin was picked up from, I believe, the Packers in the middle of the season and showed some promise.
Martin was from the Texans.
Okay, sorry.
Kid Jonathan Ford was from the Texans, who I like. I think he's a big dude, man.
Yes, he
he's
is.
like 6'5", 340.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was one game where Jonathan Ford met somebody in the hole, and you heard like a big old crack. When he hit the ball carrier. But yeah, that's a guy I wouldn't mind playing like nose tackle.
Right. And I think they have to re-sign Patrick Scales unless they're ready to find a new long-term answer there. Samuel says we should keep Ford. I won't argue with that. Yep. And Samuel also says that he looked into Don Robinson's contract status. This is his last year. We save $1.1 million if we cut him.
I mean, has he played?
He was activated late in the season when defensive ends started to get injured, and he had a really good
get on the
preseason
field with guys like Darryl Taylor and Jacob Martin. It's like,
right. Yeah, he had a really good preseason, but it's clear that the Bears coaching staff was not. I mean, like you said, they make a trade for an edge player and they play him over Don Robinson. So I think that's your answer right there.
He's a guy who played in the MAC conference in college, and was a former wide receiver who converted to defensive end. So I mean,
that's right.
It was a big time gamble by Poles to draft him in the first place.
Played quarterback too.
Quarterback, wide receiver.
Yes.
Switched to defensive end. I forget. I don't know which team he was on in the MAC. It was like,
I don't remember either.
Yeah. One of the MAC teams.
So let's encapsulate our free agency thoughts here. Tell me, like, for instance, I had this graphic up earlier in the show. These were my first 4 targets that I'm telling my pro personnel department who's working on free agents.
Glad you brought Drew Dahlman up because I got some notes on him as well.
Because I think you got to find quality at guard and center in free agency. So those are the first 2 calls I'm making: Trey Smith and Drew Dahlman. And I'm like, not for Dahlman.
We need a whole interior line, offensive line. We need 3 players.
Got it. You got
2 guards and a center.
That's right. So you're going to get one in the draft, and you'll get 2 center and a guard in free agency. So that's why I got Trey Smith and Drew Dahlman 1 and 2, and Mekhi Becton and Ryan Kelly, the center from the Colts, who had a good season. I got them as my backup.
I don't know if Atlanta's going to let Dahlman go. I mean, he did have a pretty good season. He's ranked one of the league's best center the past couple seasons. Had a 78.8 PFF overall grade, which was 4th among centers. He's only 26. He's got some room to grow as a pass blocker. He's one of the best run blocking centers in the league, though. He had an 82.3 grade in 2023, which ranked 3rd among centers. But the thing is that the Falcons are going to be going with a young quarterback with Michael Penix next year, and they're going to want to keep, their interior line as intact.
You want a veteran center to work with the rookie. I mean, because that's essentially what he is, And so, they would be, in my mind, they're either stupid for allowing him to go, or they really have some salary cap issues that have to deal with, which, because of Kirk Cousins. I mean, if they're able to unload Kirk Cousins and save millions of dollars in the cap, and I don't know if that's the case.
ProTrack has him at about $21 million for 3 years, and that seems light because recent contracts for centers have eclipsed $12 million per year for the good center. So
they have Dahlman at how much?
$21 million for 3 years, over 3 years, around there. 20.2, I think, something like that.
It's gonna be $10 million easy.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the top centers. I mean, Creed Humphrey on the Chiefs, he got a 4-year, $72 million deal last August.
Interesting.
So, I mean, that's a lot of bread. It's like I don't. That's like 18 million a season for Creed Humphrey.
Yeah. Well, Alabama, right? 2019, he came out. I want to say he's been a steady player, but yeah, that's a lot of money.
I mean, we talked about him on Barroom when he was in the draft.
Yeah,
a lot of guys liked him.
Mm-hmm. I think we're at an age where NFL salaries, they're not going to get up to NBA level because you're talking about 12-man rosters versus 50s. But the NFL player salaries for those mid-level players, I think they're going to start to take off. It's just not going to be the quarterbacks.
Yeah. What was it? Sports Chicago Style asked about a left tackle in free agency. Now,
I got the list here. If
you
want to look at it,
because if I remember, like left tackle is not that great in free agency right now. Yeah, Ronnie Stanley's like the best name, right?
Yep. Ronnie Stanley is the best now. He's had some injury issues, but he is a solid player. Guy formerly out of Notre Dame. He's been playing better and better as his career has progressed. He's if you want to take the gamble again. Injuries. If you want to take the gamble on an injured player, then Ronnie Stanley at left tackle could be interesting.
Yeah, was he injured at the end of last year of the season?
No, for I think his first season in his NFL career, he played all 17 games.
And Garrett Bowles, he's like a converted tight end.
Right.
Plays left tackle on the Broncos.
I don't think he's big enough for this offense.
He's like skinny. But it's turned out to be an okay player. Cam Robinson, we could have signed last year.
Yep.
I know we talked about him a lot last season. When a lot of people wanted to sign him. It would have been an okay signing. As a part of the Alaric Jackson is the guy that SCS was talking about. The Los Angeles Rams, at the beginning of the season, they had some offensive line issues, but towards the end of the season, that line was playing fantastic for the Rams.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
and they overachieved. I know Barlissimo liked Alaric Jackson too. It was one of the names that he had mentioned as signing, but I don't think he's that young anymore.
Let me check it out.
Like
check it out.
While you
continue. Yeah. I don't know about Alaric Jackson. I don't know what Barlissimo sees in him. I think he's an okay player, but he's not better than Braxton Jones in my opinion.
Sambo likes him.
He's 26 years old.
He's a young guy.
Yeah.
No.
Thank you, Samo.
26. Yeah.
Samo's the guy, man.
So he's on the Rams. Let me just see. Look. I mean, the thing that we're all sort of disappointed with is Braxton Jones versus the Bull Rush. The ones who have strong, just power rush. He struggles with power. And I wonder, I would like to know the size of Alaric Jackson.
All right, I can tell you that right now. He is 6'7", 345 pounds.
There you go. All right.
So if he's
got the size to stop the bull rushers. Now, is a guy that big going to have trouble with speed rushers? Because now we're out of the frying pan into the fire.
That's the thing. And that's where you need great coaching because they can then, figure that out, particularly with the tackles. If you have guards who have really bad weaknesses, that's harder to hide than having tackles. To me, this is elementary, but a lot of people disagree with me. Isn't it easier to deal with the quarterback to deal with the opportunity to have a clean pocket, and the three players most responsible for that are the interior offensive linemen.
Exactly. And we need three of them.
Right. This isn't the old Raiders of 1968 where Stabler went back and took 7, 8, 9 step drop
and slung it
for 4 or 5 seconds. Yeah, but after 4 or 5 seconds, now the ball is getting out quick, and so that's why the interior offensive linemen are so important.
100%. That's this is why you and I talk about how guards and the interior O-liners are so important right now in this NFL.
They really are. I'm not saying, the tackles are different because on the right side, you need a big, fat motherfucker who can knock people down because that's mostly where you're running to. On the left side, you do need a guy with special skills like a Braxton Jones, long, length, able to get his arms way out there and so forth. And so that's why those guys make money. It's because they're not born. You don't go to Kmart and get a 6'7" moving guy.
He's as old as the guy that parted the Red Sea, Muck.
Moses is still. Indeed. Canada won. Holy shit.
Damn it.
What do you think, Tooch?
I didn't bet it.
But you didn't bet it?
No, it was one of Anthony's plays. I'm like, dude, I can't. If I bet on that game, I'm going to want to watch it, and then I'm going to bite every single fingernail off watching it. You know? I'm like,
I recorded it just in case something tremendous happened, but the recording ended before it even went to overtime. So T3P says Braxton Jones is good. On a scale of 1 to 100, with 100 being all Pro Bowl, how would you grade Braxton Jones?
Well, if I was Dave Portnoy reviewing pizza, he'd get like a 7.6.
See, I think that's fair. That means he's a little better than average.
It's not a bad grade for pizza. 8.1 is a good pizza for Portnoy. You know, his highest grade he's ever given out is 9.4.
You're making me hungry now, man. I'm throwing frozen pizza in the oven.
See, T3P agrees with me. He's like 7.8. Fine, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, look, can you survive with Braxton Jones for another year? Yeah, you can.
Yes, you can
get away with him. You know, it's just there's going to be a few games where he gives up pressure.
Right. And I think you have to account for the fact that this guy, Ben Johnson, and his offensive line coach are going to work a hell of a lot better than our previous offensive coordinators worked with Chris Morgan. They're going to have a game plan that is going to help these guys on the offensive line perform at a higher level. You really have to account for that. Yeah, to not account for that, then you're leaving out an important part of player performance equation. Coaching.
You have to get the interior offensive line, attack it in free agency. There's no other choice.
I agree.
That's why everyone says we're going after Trey Smith. But I mean, look, and Atlanta's going to try and get Drew Dahlman. So we're going to be, looking at Ryan Bates or Coleman Shelton probably at center again. But you know what? Maybe
I'll take that. Give me Booker from Alabama at left guard and Trey Smith at right guard.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I'm all right with that. Yep.
Okay, take a look at I saw these
trade back and get Tyler Booker.
Yep. Look at these clips of him. The right guard, number 65.
Once he gets his hands on you, you're done.
You're done. And then I love what he does. He pancakes guy. Look I'm gonna drive you to the ground, you motherfucker.
He's not the most athletic guy, but he is tough.
He can get around. And he loves to punish people. He loves to show his toughness. And that's what this Bears team needs, man. You need a tough guy, especially a guy next to Caleb Williams. You need a guy who Caleb is going to say, this is my boy. This is my guy. When the next time I go out for drinks, this is my guy. Look how he gets out there on the screen and knocks the safety to his ass. I love it.
Yeah, if for some reason you don't get him, Donovan Jackson on Ohio State's a pretty good player as well. Mm-hmm. Played guard and he played left tackle when Josh Simmons went down.
Yep. Yeah. All right, a couple comments here I want to share with you and everyone else. We can win, says Samo, with Braxton because competent coaching will strengthen his weaknesses and, more importantly, protect his weaknesses when needed on certain play calls. And then BT9 says we can. To me, a starter left tackle is a guy who can pass block and run block above average. So right now, Braxton, a rotation left tackle, not quite a starter, but still has upside.
He's 6'5", 310. That's what he's a little light in the pants for tackle.
Yeah, and might not, and the guard position might not be able to play. Now, Brad Biggs with the Tribune, who's a guy I really value Donovan Jackson.
I'll take either Booker or Jackson. I wouldn't mind. first or second round pick on either of those guys.
Mm-hmm. And I was saying Brad Biggs thinks that next season Braxton Jones could be the rotational tackle, play left and play right as the backup tackle, and that we'll have a new left tackle to go with Darnell Wright on the right tackle.
I like Braxton. He's very cerebral. It seems like he is a student of the game as well, a very smart player. I agree. I like Donovan Jackson as well, man. You could plug Donovan Jackson at left tackle if you had to.
He played well at left tackle. Now, the first game that he had, which was after Simmons went down, Jackson went out to left tackle. Abdul Carter gave him a little butt slap in there.
Ate him up.
2.5 sacks.
Ate him for lunch.
But after that, he settled down. What do you think about my idea?
To get Abdul.
What do you think about it? Let me see if I got the graphic here.
I think Abdul might be first overall pick, man. I mean, maybe second or third.
But there is a chance, like the Titans have the first pick, they might decide to go with one of the quarterbacks.
Yep.
Don't you think? There's a
Cam
chance.
Ward or Shador Sanders.
Right.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, there's a possibility he could be available at 4 when the Patriots are.
So let's say, because there's lots of talk of the Titans signing Derek Carr right now, just to sort of solidify that quarterback position. They'll eliminate all the dumb plays that Will Levis made. I mean, he handed us the game when we played the season. He threw a pick six just like when he was getting sacked. Here you go.
I was there. It was a gift. There's no doubt about it. Thank you. Get that graphic off the screen. I was looking for the graphic where I had my trade recommendation, but I don't have it up. Let me see if it's in the other thing. But I really like the idea of trying to get – here it is. All right, so trade to the Patriots, the number 10 pick, the number
Patriots
39
have what,
pick.
the third pick overall?
They have the fourth.
Fourth pick, okay.
Right. So if Carter falls down to – okay, so I got to set this up correctly, Tooch.
Right.
First of all, what has to happen is we sign Trey Smith. Sign Trey Smith. Thank you. Okay. Now we know that we have Trey Smith on the team. So now you are trading to the Patriots your number 10 pick for their number 4, plus you're trading pick number 39, which is the first of the 2 second rounders, and the 2025 fourth round pick. So you still have a pick at 41-42 in the second round to pick another offensive lineman. So now what you have is you have Abdul Carter opposite Montez Sweat. Carter, the Mekhi Parsons type player, speed rusher. You can be creative with him, put him in the middle, put him all over and so forth. And then you've got Trey Smith at right guard, and you've got maybe Austin Booker maybe falls to 42. I doubt he falls to 42, but you got a quality left guard. What do you think? Bad idea? Should I just go back to sleep or what?
Well, no, I mean.
See, you like it. See that, Samuel? Samuel says no. Get out of here, Samuel. I paid like I devoted 5 minutes of my time to come up with that trade scenario.
Yeah, I mean, if let's say if we got like Trey Smith and Drew Dahlman in free agency, then I say, go fire away.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Tucci and I think a lot alike for guys for a conservative and a liberal.
I mean, look, then you shore up the defensive end position for quite a long time.
Oh my gosh! Yep. Yes. What do you think? Samuel says, Tooch, what do you think? Who do you think are the blue chip players in this draft? Do you expect any of them to fall to 10? If not, do you pick or trade down?
No,
or let me add
That's
to
a
that,
great
Samuel.
Hold on.
Let me add to that, Samuel. Would he also consider trading up to get one of those blue chip players, like I just mentioned in my scenario, Operation Get Carter?
I would say there are 2 for sure blue chip players up at the top, and that would be Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. After that, man, I'm not so sure that there are many, man. We'll talk about guys like Mason Graham and Shador and Cam Ward. people. Ashton Jonty's good player, man. He played in a weak conference.
Yep.
I'm
with you, bro.
James Pierce has a chance to be pretty good. He's lighting to add some weight. Like the guy that I showed you, Kelvin Banks, man. He's a guy that got better every year, man. He didn't allow a lot of pressures either.
Yeah, and
he has a chance to be.
I'm sorry.
He has a chance to be.
I haven't studied his tape, but Dane Brugler says that Banks could be a better than average long-time left tackle, but he does not like that Banks is on the ground a lot, meaning he's being pushed around.
Yep. Yeah,
this almost sounds like Braxton Jones.
He's not. He's about 320 pounds. They're only gaining 10.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So I mean,
what about Mason Graham?
I'm with you on Abdul. I think, yeah. The thing is, like with Mason Graham, I think you could get a guy that's almost as good as him with Kenneth Grant, like in the second round.
Really?
But
see, I think Mason Graham could be Aaron Donald. I really do believe that he could be that great.
Mason Graham is good, though. He's awfully good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awfully good.
Let me ask the chat.
He's like 6'5", 340, and he runs like a 4.6. It's like inhuman.
Yeah.
You know?
Let me ask the chat.
Yeah.
Would you consider, let's say Mason Graham, the scenario I see over and over again, is would you consider trading up for Mason Graham if he drops to 7? Or I'll add to that question.
I think he might be there at 10.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to ask that.
Think he might,
do you think that he could be there at 10? So that's your answer. You think he might be there at 10? Hold your horses. Don't do anything.
And I think the Bears should seriously consider taking him at 10.
Or I agree with you.
If they're not, if nobody's
in my mind, you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that I would say no for if
and
you don't
sign
a quality offensive lineman in the first in free agency, if you don't sign a quality offensive lineman, then you might have to rethink that. But I'm assuming we're going to get a good offensive lineman.
I'm actually liking this trading up for Abdul Carter idea more and more now. We're talking. I don't. Where the Bears are at 10, there's not a lot of value. And it really, we'll have to revisit this when post March 12. When free agency begins, we'll have to revisit this. I like Will Campbell. I love the personality. I love the grit. But I mean, like Kelvin Banks, both these guys are shorter. They're lighter and they're short arms. Yep. There's some bigger guys later on in the draft that have those long arms. Like the other guy in Texas, Cameron Williams. He's the same size as Kelvin Banks, maybe a little heavier, and has longer arms.
I keep hearing a lot
he's
of
younger.
He's
like
Cameron.
20 or 20. He's only like 20 or 21 years old. He might be a guy that you develop behind Braxton Jones for a year, and then he comes out and he's better than Banks or anybody. It's right. It's just not a good draft for tackles.
Yeah,
it really is.
I agree. Because Campbell is not going to play tackle in the NFL.
I like the Alaric Jackson talk, and I like the trading up for Abdul Carter talk right now.
Mm-hmm. Bowles is indeed a wheeler dealer, but sometimes the wheel doesn't go around; it goes flat.
He's more of a trade back guy, though, isn't he?
He really is, and I don't have a problem in this year's draft. If my top players, Carter and Graham, are gone, and you have no way to trade up for them, I'm trading back. I'm definitely trading back. So let me ask you this. Let me give you a scenario here. I like giving people scenarios because it's so much fun. So the Bears pick at number 10 in the first draft. At 11 is San Francisco. At 12 is Dallas. At 13 is Miami. Would you trade down all the way to 14 so the Indianapolis Colts can get their desired player at 10? Would you go that far down, or would you even entertain going further down?
I would, yeah. I think I don't think there's a lot of, it depends on what they're offering. Like if you pick up a second or third round pick, a second round pick would be more in line with the value. But I mean, there really isn't a lot of value at the top 10. I mean, there's two guys who are worthy of a top 2-3 picks, and that's Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. After that, there's a lot of guys who are quarterbacks, who could be good. And a lot of guys who are like,
who's your top quarterback in this draft?
I mean, they're both good. I mean, Shador has really nice mechanics, and he has the bloodlines and stuff. But I think Cam Ward's almost just as good, man. It's hard to tell. I mean, it's not a good class for quarterbacks.
It's not one that gives you a lot of confidence, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, they're kind of like question marks as well,
because either one of those top two guys could be a superstar, but probably not.
Yeah, I mean, Shador could have a really high ceiling. He's got excellent mechanics. He throws a real nice ball. Cam Ward is also good, man. They're both decent quarterbacks. I mean, it depends on where they go, who's coaching them. Later on, there's some quarterbacks, that are kind of shining a little bit. You got Jackson Dart, but I mean, it's not a good draft for quarterbacks this year. Curtis Rourke is out there. I love Rourke.
Yeah, and that hurts us because we're hoping that two quarterbacks will go in the top 9.
Yep.
So that somebody can fall.
Yeah, they will. Both those guys will go in the top 9. I think so. Yeah. I mean, the Bears don't really need quarterback because we have, Caleb, and they have a decent backup. And they have a guy in the practice squad who showed he could play. The Western Kentucky kid. There are some late. If you don't want to stick with Austin Reed, there's some late round quarterbacks. But it's kind of foolish to waste a draft pick when you have Austin Reed.
I think Austin Reed is a Ben Johnson type of quarterback. I think Ben Johnson is going to look at Austin Reed and say, I can work with this. And the same thing with Bajan.
Yeah.
Those guys.
Austin Reed looks a lot like Jared Goff.
He does.
Kind of similar player, throws the same kind of ball.
He does. I agree with Bajan has the scrambling. Cam Ward.
Yeah, I like Cam Ward too. Yeah.
I think Cam Ward is going to be your.
He's got more mobility than Shador.
Yeah, he's got. I was going to say Baker Mayfield type qualities. He's a guy that comes up with big plays in games and stuff. He's got moxie.
Shador's tough though, man.
Yeah, he is.
He's a tough player.
Yeah, he's not as athletic as say Justin.
No, he's not as
nearly as athletic as Justin, Caleb, and Josh Allen. That's for sure.
It's a weak quarterback class. It's unfortunately, it's a weak wide receiver class too, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's not really any studs.
There's going to be some surprises. I think some late round day 3 guys that could surprise in the NFL. But yeah, there's not a lot of sure things. That's for sure. Hey,
tackle.
Your signal is breaking up a little bit. Do you mind signing out and coming back again?
Yep.
Thank you, brother. That is Johnny Santucci. He's got one of those internet services where you can't see porn, which I would never subscribe to an internet service like that.
Yeah,
a little better.
Better?
Yeah, a little. Yeah. I was saying that your internet service probably doesn't allow you to go on porn.
It's frozen, man. It's like it's like 4 degrees here in Iowa.
4 degrees?
It's terrible, man. It's terrible. But Sunday's supposed to be like 40 or 50. So it's going to be messy with all that snow melting.
Oh, yeah. It's the same thing here in Chicago. Yeah. T3P says, Aldo, do you scenario where Ben bench Caleb? Oh, do I see a scenario where Ben would bench Caleb? No. Absolutely not. There's too much talent involved in this guy. You got to fight through what is definitely going to be mistakes and periods of mistakes. I wish he would. That's why we should have fired Matt Eberflus. I wish this whole process would have started in his rookie year. Exactly. You needed to team up Caleb with his offensive coordinator, offensive guru, offensive quarterback genius in his rookie season. Now he's got to unteach him, and so we have to account for that. There's going to be mistakes by Caleb. There's no doubt about it.
We lost one season. Who asked the question?
T3P.
Yeah, we lost one season, T3P. But I mean, he kind of got Caleb got a feel of what the speed is like in the NFL, what it's like to go to work every day, put your hard hat and grab your lunch pail in the NFL. What it's like to take care of your body. What it's like to focus on your nutrition and all that stuff. So, I mean, in that sense, he gained there.
Tooch, you froze on me.
I got to am I frozen again?
No, you're good.
Okay.
I can hear you. Can't see you real well. You're a little
I don't know
fuzzy.
what's going on.
Yeah, sometimes it happens.
I'm frozen though, huh? All right, let me leave. I'll come back.
All right.
Should I come back again?
Yeah, try it again.
Right.
This is Tooch's biggest contribution to the show when we're talking about some of the ideas we had for offensive line acquisitions. J2K, welcome back to the bar room. J2K was our one of our guests on Tuesday night. We had some really spirited dialogue where J2K was not for the idea of signing Trey Smith because he felt like that might be too much money designated to one player, and it's a good argument. But one that I disagree with, and I made that case early in the show. So if you want to go back and rewatch the first part of this show, that would be cool. If not, we're going to move on. And when Tooch comes on, we're going to talk about some of the movies and stuff that we've seen, because I really want to get to that and devote a good 30 minutes to that. And it is already 11 o'clock in Chicago. Tooch, are you back?
I don't know. So something StreamYard's acting real slow.
Yeah, something's going on here. Maybe my money didn't go through Venmo or however it is I pay.
Signal, but strange.
Well, listen, I think we're done with football talk. There's some movies and stuff that I really want to get your thoughts on. Let's start with the Gorge. You told me that you saw that. It stars Anya Taylor-Joy.
Did you watch it?
I did see it. I saw it this morning because I wanted to prepare for the show. So your thoughts on The Gorge?
I mean, well, I enjoyed it. I mean, it's a B movie. I like the two main characters. Both actors were really good. I thought they had decent chemistry. Like I said, I alternately titled the story a sniper love story.
Yes.
Yes.
Which
kind of what it is. And then you throw in kind of the Twilight Zone supernatural type element to it, and you cook it all together. But I mean, it was solid, and I love Anya Taylor-Joy. Is that her name? Anya Taylor-Joy?
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Okay.
I'm so in love
She's
with
so
her.
cute. She's so
Please.
cute.
Yeah, please go on.
Yep.
This is her second straight action movie. She did the latest Mad Max movie, which really she was in the movie for about half the movie because her younger self, a younger actress, played her as a kid. But yeah, she was fantastic in Mad Max, and I thought she was fantastic in this. A lot of it has to do with just her model-like look, the high cheekbones, the big white eyes. Yeah. She's a very, very sexy and attractive woman. I thought she was good. The movie gave me the feeling a lot that I was playing a video game because it's about shooting these, and don't want to give too much away.
Yeah, don't give away too much. But
yeah, they're protecting this gorge, and there's some stuff coming at them, and so they get their guns out and they're shooting away. Great action scenes, I thought, right?
Yeah, you get Sigourney Weaver, too.
Yes.
In a small role.
In a small but very pivotal role. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I thought it was, if you're in the mood for a good action picture that's going to hold your interest, nice visuals, so plot line, and if you like my girl, Anya Taylor-Joy, you definitely need to watch The Gorge.
Yeah, it's like you're going out to dinner, and your favorite steakhouse is full. So there's a Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah.
So you go to Texas Roadhouse and get your meal. It's enjoyable.
Yes.
It's not the best meal you've ever had.
Right.
But it gets the job done.
I love it. That's a very apt description. All right, so here's another movie that I want to talk about. I have not seen it. You saw it. Let's play the trailer. It's just an 18-second teaser trailer.
Sly Stone. He opened the portal like, come this way. Sly was the creator,
writer, innovator, poet, genius.
When it came together, the sound, it was so future.
So good.
I'm dying to watch it. I'm dying to watch it.
I'm bored. I was in Hulu because I watched all of Paradise. I caught up and I'm like, oh, Sly lives. What is this? It's like Sly and the Family Stone documentary. And I'm like, I love Sly Stone's music.
Yes.
Because when it came out, there was nothing like it. It was so original.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get all the story behind the band, all the from the very beginning. Interviews with band members and rare footage, concerts. It's fantastic. It's directed by Questlove, who's the leader of the band The Roots.
Oh,
like
that's another reason I want to see it.
What's his name?
Jimmy
Fallon's house band is The Roots, I think. Right?
Oh, yes, that's right.
So he made the movie. Big fan of Sly Stone.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, look, Sylvester Stewart was not the nicest person. Had some personal issues and stuff, but he was a musical genius. But there's no Prince in the Revolution without Sly and the Family Stone.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There is none. There's no Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
There's no without this sound.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some great stories. I mean, Jerry Martini, the horn player, he kind of arranged the horns and stuff. He convinced Sly to start a band, and then you have Larry Graham on bass, and two of the siblings of Sly. His brother played guitar and his sister played the organ.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like Sly was telling Jerry Martini, he's like, we need a trumpet player. Like, give me somebody. He's like, I can't think of about it. There's this girl in grade school that played the trumpet, and she ended up being in the band. It's for a long time singing and playing trumpet and stuff. Yeah, it's great.
That. What do you think about what Muck Muck says here? He says, other than Parliament, Funkadelic, Sly and the Family Stone is ultimate funk
man.
band.
There's nothing like it. They were the first band to sample other bands. Their first band to use a drum machine.
Mm-hmm.
They also other following artists mined their record collection for samples.
Yeah.
And I mean, he created some original music that at the time was just so far ahead of its time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I grew up listening to his music and really.
I was like, I can't turn this off. It's so good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you for making.
It's on Hulu.
Yeah. And Tooch made me aware of the Sly doc that I'm going to see maybe tonight or tomorrow. And I made him aware of a show called Paradise. And
fantastic show.
Let's watch the trailer, and then Tooch and I will review the show and provide more depth to the plot line.
For the record, your name is Xavier Collins, correct?
Yes.
You have 2 children. James and Presley.
Yes.
When did you last see Cal Bradford alive?
I walked the president to his room when he turned in at 22:04.
You don't approve?
Those things would kill you.
Yeah. Well, they can get in line.
When did you discover the body?
I knocked on the door at 8:01. That's when I found him lying next to his bed.
You were the last person to see Cal alive. Did you kill him?
No.
Agent Collins, you're about to be entrusted with top secret national security information. The president has cleared you at the highest level.
You're going to want to hear this. Xavier, is a part of you happy that Cal is dead?
That is the preview that I think does an excellent job.
After watching that preview, something's wrong with you.
Right? Exactly.
That's a great preview. It's just like,
yeah.
I mean, they don't know what it's all about, or if they haven't seen it, you don't know what it's about. But the trailer is fantastic for getting you hooked. And
yeah, so the premise, as you might be able to get from that trailer, is that Sterling K. Howard, who I thought was fantastic in the People versus
is it
O.J.
Sterling K.
Simpson.
Brown or Sterling K. Howard?
Brown. I'm sorry.
Okay, so because I don't know for sure. I thought it was Brown. Okay.
Yes, you're absolutely
He's excellent.
He's excellent, and I thought he was excellent as the co-prosecutor in the People versus O.J. Simpson, where Cuba Gooding played O.J. Simpson. A great 10-part series as part of that crime. I forgot what it's called, but anyway, he's excellent as this. He plays a Secret Service agent who knows some of the secrets of the President of the United States, and something. Not to give anything away here, or too much away, something has happened to planet Earth that now society has changed dramatically. And so the Secret Service agent, played by Sterling K. Brown, has stumbled upon new things and more information as to what is happening in this world. Yeah. Very, very vague, but I'm telling you.
You can't give it away, right?
Right. I don't want to give it away because there's some nice surprises.
And the Sinatra, the I don't know, was she the vice president or
no? She was basically
like
kind of an Elon Musk character. She was an advisor to the president. She's really
I would hate fuck her.
I agree
because she's kind of hot too.
I've always thought she was very attractive, that actress, and I don't remember her name. She reminds me a lot
Nicholson?
of Julianne Nicholson. Yes,
is that her name? Okay.
Yes, she reminds me a lot of Shirley MacLaine. Yeah. And there's a similarity there, especially with the eyes. Somebody disagrees. B Minor says Paradise started out good, but these last few episodes are kind of mid. I don't know. I don't know. I don't agree with you.
Yeah, I think it's been pretty solid throughout the whole.
My wife and I are watching it together, and
I watched all of them in 2 days. My wife and I.
Nice. What do you think about J2K's thoughts on Severance season 2? He says
my brother's telling me to watch Severance, and I have never seen it.
Oh, you still haven't seen season 1? Huh?
Nope.
Okay.
But I love the premise.
Yeah.
I just haven't had a chance to get down to it. But what's it? In Paradise, the guy that plays Cal's dad is from the old TV show Simon and Simon. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was like, I had totally forgotten about that TV show. And then my brother was telling me, yeah, he's from Simon and Simon. I was like, oh, that's that like detective show with two brothers.
Exactly.
Like, I totally, it was like erased from my memory banks.
Gerald McRaney is his name. And he's currently 77 years old. But yeah, he has done
Simon and
Simon.
That was like an 80s TV show.
It was 1981 to 1989.
Wow.
So that's how long.
Wow, that was a long time.
Yes. He was also a big character in the comedy sitcom Designing Women. It's been in a number of major motion pictures. Yeah, he's a very, very good actor. Now, B Minor is saying, come on, Paradise, his wife is alive out there.
You don't know that, though.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know. And that's what Sinatra told him. I don't believe her, man.
Right. Yes. So it's not.
I have no idea who who did the murder.
Frankly, B Minor, if she is still alive out there, I think that would be a bad plot point because there has to be some loss for characters when they go through lead characters when they go through their journey.
So the story behind why his Xavier and his wife are not together anymore was Xavier turned his father in because his father his father was an airline pilot, right? And he had tremors. And like his own son turned him in and said, you can't fly. He can't fly. Don't let him fly. And his dad never forgave him and he didn't get his wife to the place where she needed to be. Is that Did I have that right? Because I'm trying to infer what happened.
No, you definitely have that right. That's a great, great plot point. And so we don't know if she is alive somehow, some way, because we did learn that there are some people in this kind of, we're starting to give more away than we should, but this kind of post-apocalyptic world.
They sent a team
of
people They made a statue of the team with the president. They made a fucking statue.
That's right. That's right. So I find B minor. I find it enjoyable because I think there's just a lot of depth to the storytelling. Yeah. There's great performances. It's a low budget Hulu show, but I think it's pretty well put together.
They did a fantastic
job.
A lot. Budget they had.
I agree.
The special effects are great.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I got another movie for you that I just recently watched. Let's watch the trailer.
One for you too, and a TV show as well.
Excellent. We'll come back to those after we talk about this.
We're going to my island for a few days. Do you guys want to come?
Did we just jet off to a billionaire's island with a bunch of strangers? No, he's not a stranger. He's Slater King.
You having a good time?
Legendary parties of Slater King. It's not what I thought it was gonna be.
What do you mean?
I'm having a great time here. But I also have this feeling that I'm like, not.
Who has my knife?
Oh, dude, your eye.
What? Oh, no, I know, right?
There's something weird going on here.
Can't you feel it? There's something wrong with this place.
Where's Jess?
Who's Jess?
My friend. Here we go. I feel like we're forgetting like a lot of stuff.
Okay, but like, how? We need to know what's really going on.
Uh-oh.
I've seen this. You're muted though. Wait, why am I by myself? Yeah, I've seen this. I didn't know what it was about, but it looks fantastic. Plus, there was a really nice ass that I saw. See what the chat room has to say about this one. LCD sound system. Anybody seen Blink Twice? Aldo left. I don't know. I think his internet crashed. Maybe it's mine. It looks like I'm still here, though. Can you all hear me? Anyways, I was watching. Anybody seen Reacher? Reacher season 3 is out. I watched the first 2 episodes. It's really good. Love Reacher on Amazon Prime. Let's see. Okay, Muck says the ending was good, but didn't like it overall for Blink Twice. Yeah, all right. Y'all can hear me. I don't know what happened to Aldo. Maybe he's going to text me. I had to check and see if he texts me. Okay. Trying to reboot. So he'll be back recently. Has anybody seen? Reacher's good, man. Love the first 2 episodes so far. I think Prime put 3 episodes out. They released 3 right off the bat, which is great. So you can get into it. And then, you've got time until they release episode 4. But yeah, Reacher's really good, man. Yeah, Paradise. Yeah, I like it too, man. I enjoy it. I binge watched every episode like in 2 days. My wife and I, we just couldn't stop watching it. We were really enjoying it. I gotta try that Blink Twice though. I like Channing Tatum. He's entertaining. I forgot, what was that Channing Tatum movie with Sandra Bullock? That was really funny. All right. Any other questions, folks? While I wait for Aldo to come back. All right. Best series so far this year for me is The Agency. I don't know that one, B minor. Yeah. Oh, look who dropped by. Foster. Yeah. Sorry, bud. We didn't go last night. I know. How did your show go tonight, Foster? Good? Cobra Kai, season 6 already? Damn. Yeah, I really like the first couple seasons, man. Ralph Macchio was great, man. So was the other guy. I forget the other guy's name. Aldo went to squeeze one off. Yeah, it's possible. Yes. Yeah, Sterling K. Brown, he is fantastic in that. Yeah, Reacher's back. I've seen both. I've seen the first 2 episodes, man. Oh man. Yeah, I know. I'll have to catch it up later. Waiting on Aldo to get back. He's trying to reboot. Waiting for him. Maybe he wants me to close out the show. I got this terrible cough. I stepped on my daughter's earring the other day. My foot is killing me. Yeah, it's freezing cold, waiting for it to get out. I bet we probably have one more snowstorm, Yeah, what's up, Scrolls? Yeah, we got a little technical difficulty with Aldo. 1923 season 2. I don't know that one, Mr. Mayhem. 1923. That name, it sounds familiar, man. Yeah, I stepped on my daughter's earring. My foot is killing me, man. All right, so Muck season of Reachers. The first season of Reacher was fantastic. Season 2 was pretty good too, man. I thought it was a little different. They had that kind of army, his old gang. This one seems to be getting back to the, Reacher solving some kind of crime and stuff, which is nice. Yeah, the first season of Reacher was classic. It was the best one so far, I think. We'll see. Maybe season 3 outdoes season 1. Yeah, I did too, J2K. J2K, you made it. Yeah, we're waiting for you to chime in on a little Josh Simmons talk. Oh, 1923. That's right. Yeah, the Yellowstone prequel. I saw the 1888, I think it was. Here's Aldo. He's back.
I'm back. How?
Yeah. I was like by myself, But that looks great. Blink twice. How is it?
What? I'm sorry. What is that?
Blink twice.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So
is that one of those Blumhouse movies? I know I saw Channing Tatum in there. I saw someone with a great ass. I would watch that preview again just to see that ass.
Beautiful girls in it. So imagine this is like a Brian Epstein story. There's a very popular Hollywood actor who has bought an island, and he brings women over there.
Sure.
And he has his tight group of friends. And so they are drugging these women and having their way with them at night. And so so the women, that's told from the perspective of the women, they're trying to figure out a way to escape the horror that they're into. They get these flashbacks of guys having sex with them in every orifice that they have. It's really a good movie. It's called Blink Twice. And it's a good vengeance, redemption story for the women.
I didn't know. My wife and I have been looking for something to watch. This is like, how did we miss this one?
Yeah, I think we like it. The same way. Same here. I kept, overlooking it, and finally I gave it a shot, and I was really, really.
I got a couple. I know I started watching Reacher season 3.
Yeah, how's that?
It's excellent. Those Reacher ones are great. I love Alan Ritchson's so good. He's a really good. He's perfect for the Reacher character, just the hard ass.
Much better than Tom Cruise was, right?
Well, he's more like the character of the novels. But the first Tom Cruise one was actually pretty good. It was a good story.
No, it was a good movie.
Yeah, good movie. The second one was
Yeah, but that actor, Jack Reacher is a big guy.
Yeah,
6'3", 6'4", and Tom Cruise is
not a big guy. No, he's like 4'11". No,
yeah, so you kind of get that sense that this was written for a big guy, and that Tom Cruise is getting away with it because he's such a good physical actor, but he's not like the guy in the TV series. I thought that show is good. So season 3 has started.
Season 3, they dropped the first 3 episodes. I watched 2 earlier this evening. And then, because they're not that long, they're like, 30, 40 minutes?
Yeah, they're about 40 minutes, right?
Yeah. And then I saw a movie recently. It's called, it was 1982, I think. It's called The Sender. Do you know this one?
No.
It's like a horror movie with it was so far ahead of its time. I think it's still it's very well made. It's with Željko Ivanek. Do you know that actor? He's been in a million movies. Look up The Sender, 1982. And, man, it was like, I sent it to Dan Aguirre. I'm like, this is a Dan Aguirre movie for sure. It's like 1982. Aldo probably saw this in the movie theater.
I might have. Let me.
There's a great backstory to it, too.
Okay, I got the trailer. Let's take a look at it.
It's excellent. Very well made. For 82.
This is Blue Flight Leader. We have engaged unidentified aircraft.
In 1960,
I
Commander
don't
Jack
think that's it. Maybe
disappeared without a
I
trace.
spent my whole life trying to prove to everybody my father wasn't some kind of a lunatic.
no. This isn't it.
Father's death was an accident.
How do you know?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's like a guy who can he has nightmares and he projects it onto other people. You know,
Okay.
they're like hallucinations for them and stuff. And there's a psychiatrist that's trying to work with him. Like, you know, they want to lobotomize him, experiment on him and stuff like this. And you don't know this movie? 1982. The Sender. With Jelko Ivanek.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Here,
It's
I
like a
got it.
Cronenberg movie. It's like Scanners.
Okay. I think I found the correct trailer.
Okay.
Let me set it up here.
And
Give me
Jelko
time.
was really young. It was his first movie.
All right. Yeah, it does. That opening image does feel like a Cronenberg.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's all right. You're safe here. I'm a psychiatrist. Can you tell me what happened? Can you tell me your name? How are you feeling?
What's happening?
Oh, I've got a bad feeling about this one. Is the doctor coming?
Did you see his eyes?
Hey, what are you
It's
doing?
weird, this trailer. It's like it doesn't really show you the movie, but
Stop!
not really hooking you with the trailer, but Scrolls.
The Sender, his nightmare, will become your reality. Coming soon from Paramount Pictures.
Yeah, it's wild, man. It's like nothing I've seen before. It was it was a great story behind it. Like the director was a real auteur. He he really fought with the studio. He didn't want them to touch his film and stuff. You know, they wanted to chop it up and commercialize it and all this stuff. So he kind of retained a lot. They delayed it. They fucked with him. And a lot. He put up a lot of his own money. Yeah, it's got some. It's creepy as hell. It's got some great special effects that look really realistic for even today. For back then, I don't look kind of cheesy in the trailer and stuff too. But a really cool movie. Do you know the actor Jelko Ivanek? He played the Croat in Walking Dead.
Oh yeah, he's excellent. I like him.
Yeah, he's kind of has thinning hair and dark circles under his eyes.
Yeah, you see him
he's
on Law and Order a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a B. He's like a B movie actor, but what do you say? A character actor.
Yeah, definitely a character actor. There's a lot of government officials, police officers, and stuff like that.
I forgot he was Mike in was it what's that movie
See if I'm calling it up.
It's
IMDb.
What's that guy's name? Not Jack Reacher, but the other character. That's the Tom Clancy character.
Oh,
what's his name? The guy from The Office played John Krasinski.
The Americans? No.
What was the John Krasinski one? It's
Born Legacy.
What's Harrison Ford? Harrison Ford played the character too.
Oh, Red October.
Yeah, but what's the character's name? Because I think the series is named after the character with John Krasinski.
Seeing it on. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, what is his name?
It's on Prime Video.
Yeah.
Let's see. Banshee Revolution.
Just escaping me.
Yeah.
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan. There you go.
Wasn't he the partner, one of the guys from Jack Ryan? Maybe not. I'm wrong, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see him on the Jack Ryan. I don't see Jack Ryan under his IMDb.
He was in Seven Psychopaths. Do you know that movie?
Love that movie.
He was in Argos and Black Hawk Down. Black Hawk Down has like every single actor in it. If you like ever look at the cast.
Yep. Hey, I got asked by B Minor. I think this is a show that you recommended, The Agency.
No, someone recommended The Agency. What?
B Minor is saying, can you show The Agency series trailer? Here
Yeah,
it comes.
B Minor recommended The Agency, I think, right?
I'm happy you're back.
Is this
hostages or find nuclear weapons?
Fassbender.
Kill people?
My job in the CIA was to go undercover, make contacts, and see if they knew information that could be useful.
So you left us for 6 years to make friends?
You prefer I kill people? How much longer is the unit planning on watching it 24/7?
Psychological well-being is an agency-wide priority. We may suffer from chronic hypervigilance like many returning agents. So, is it possible that you have something to hide?
You're in London. Me too.
And my mission, I was in a relationship. It's complicated.
You and me forever.
You and me.
If anything points to her playing you.
She's not in the game.
By definition, if you're in this game, nobody knows.
You were undercover for years. People come back damaged from that. It has to stop.
I know how hard this is. Heart versus job. Soul
Dad, are we in trouble?
versus duty. You signed up for this.
We all did.
This isn't national security. It's personal.
This is the agency. Nothing is personal.
That sounds pretty good, man. I love Michael Fassbender too.
Love him. He's one of my best actors.
Yeah.
I think if he was a little younger, I would vouch for him to be the next James Bond.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, we gotta.
It looks like he might be a few years past his prime, though.
This guy is Željko Ivanek.
Yeah, that's him.
He's been in like a million movies.
Oh yeah, played all types.
I never knew his name. You know, like it's like yeah,
I would have never guessed it.
Yeah, he's like Croatian or something, or whatever.
So let me ask you: The Agency, you have not seen a single episode, right? All right.
No,
so
have you?
My wife and I watched episode 1, and we kind of looked at each other and said, "You think we should continue?" And I said, "Well, there's a lot of other good stuff." So we haven't gone back to it. But based on what people are saying in the chat room, maybe I should give it a look.
Who do you think should be the next James Bond? I know they're talking about it right now.
Yeah, because Jeff Bezos has bought the property, and he put up on Twitter, "Who do you think we should cast?"
Yep.
Oh man,
I know.
How
Fassbender and Idris Elba are kind of old now, but I don't mind. I kind of like the idea of Idris Elba.
I like both of those guys.
Idris Elba is a fantastic actor. I think he could really pull it off too. He's got a great voice. He's got the British accent. He is British.
Yes.
And Fassbender would be okay. Henry Cavill would be great.
Yeah.
You know,
his name is coming up a lot on social media. Yeah.
Yep. I'm trying to think of who else.
Would you be upset if they cast it with a woman and the genders were reversed?
Never thought about it. Really,
like Emily Blunt, maybe. You know, she is
British.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, trying to think of like who could pull off the physical.
Yeah,
stunts,
that's the hard part.
You know? Yeah,
because that is part of the appeal of James Bond is that he's a bad motherfucker. You know?
Yeah. There's one guy who's kind of been doing the action film, and he's British, and he is young. I'm talking about Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Oh, I like him a lot.
He was Kick-Ass. You know, the movie's Kick-Ass.
Yes.
Two great movies, Kick-Ass and Kick-Ass 2. I'm just like,
yes, I love those movies.
Really, they kind of inverted or spun the superhero story to like, if people hate superhero movies, they probably enjoyed Kick-Ass, you know, just because it was kind of it was an anti-superhero movie, you know, posing as a superhero movie.
What do you think about what Trey says? Theo Vaughn.
I don't know. That's hard.
By the way, what's his name? Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. Yep.
Yeah, he also was in the Oliver Stone movie. I forgot what it was called. Blake Lively is in it. Another young star, the kid who was in the TV series Friday Night Lights, and Dispatches. Is it?
I love Friday Night Lights, the movie.
Yeah.
I never saw the TV show though.
Oh man, the TV show.
Was the TV show good?
Tooch, I hope you will watch it because it's so goddamn good.
The movie is one of my. I think it's my all-time favorite sports movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It is one of the top 5 in my book, and the TV series is probably top 5 also of all time TV shows. Sopranos, 6 Feet Under, The Wire, and I'm putting Friday Night Lights up there too.
Who played the coach? Was it that what is that actor's name?
It
I always forget his name. He's like in a ton of shows and stuff too. I mean, movies.
He's got that great Southern accent. Kyle Chandler.
Kyle Chandler. Yeah.
Yep. And his wife was played by another big TV star, Connie Britton.
And Kyle Chandler's like done so many shows and movies, but I never remember his name. It's just like Kyle. It's too plain of a name, you know.
Yeah. A terrible name for an actor. Yeah, he was in King Kong, the version
Kong.
with.
He played an actor in King Kong.
Excellent movie.
Yeah, it's
By the way,
fantastic.
have you been following this gossip with Blake Lively and her husband
Ryan Reynolds? Yeah, I don't know. I watched the Saturday Night Live 50th.
What'd you think of that, by the way?
I thought it was pretty hit and miss, but Adam Sandler's song was absolutely brilliant. So funny. It was great. You know, they had Paul Simon. It was nice to see Paul Simon. So Steve Martin was hilarious. Martin Short. Loved seeing all the old cast members too. Bill Murray. Yeah, it was. I mean, some sketches were really funny too, though.
I thought that. Yeah, you're at. I couldn't describe it better. My review is almost word for word what you said. There were some really nice moments. The Sandler song was fantastic. I wish they would have just replayed some of the old bits that really worked well.
Yeah.
You know, they have been loading streaming services with highlight shows. If you watched 2 weeks ago, it aired on NBC, and now it's streaming 50 years of Saturday Night Live music.
Oh,
If you
how
haven't
about that?
seen that,
Fantastic.
I highly recommend it, especially that first opening montage, 5 minutes of how they meld in songs from the 70s, 80s, 90s, aughts, 10s, and 20s. It's just a beautiful editing job. And plus, there's some nice personal stories from the musicians about how nervous they were, and this happened and that happened. It's a really great 2-hour thing.
Wasn't
And then
there like a movie too of the Saturday Night Live story?
And I saw that. It's
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah,
It's like Lorne Michaels' story, kind of, like when they start, how they got it going.
His point of view, yes.
Right. There's a new Pixar TV show my kids are telling me about today. It's called Win or Lose, I think.
Oh, I haven't heard of
Win
that.
or Lose. It's like a TV. It's told from. It's like a. I don't know whether it's Little League or some kind of sports. Told from 8 different points of view.
Ooh, okay.
You know, but I haven't seen it yet. But I'm anxious. My 6-year-old was like, we watched the first episode in school. I was like, oh, okay. It's on Disney Plus. So I was like, I'll have to watch it with them and stuff. But I think it's called Win or Lose. I don't know if the chat knows what I'm talking about. But
and I'm trying to find. Somebody found Taylor Kish's name. He's the guy that starred.
Yeah. It was in that American Primeval.
American Primeval, yes.
That was great. Did you watch that one?
No, but I keep. It's on my queue because everybody's talking so highly of it.
Well, I mean, if you like westerns, you'd love it. It's killer. I forgot that Dane DeHaan is in it too. It's great.
He's an outstanding actor.
He gets like partially scalped by Indians, and the rest of the show he's all fucked up. It's hilarious, man. He's over the top. He's over the top in that one. He's like a nut, crazy over the top character.
Right. The movie with Taylor Kish and Aaron Taylor Johnson that was directed by Oliver Stone is named Savages. And it
I don't
also
know that one, man.
I highly recommend checking out. I'm not saying it's great, but it's a Stone movie with great actors.
Oliver Stone's always usually pretty good.
Yeah. I forgot there's a female lead here. Blake Lively, of course. She's
okay. That's right. Okay.
So it's definitely worth watching. It's one of those smaller
those two guys,
Stone movies that gets overlooked, but it's definitely a good movie. There's a threesome scene in Savages, yes. Mr. Mayhem. That's right. Muck Muck brings up The Silo. Have you been watching that?
I've seen it all. It's great. The last season was incredible.
Yeah, I saw season 1, loved it. My wife and I first watched the first episode.
There's only 2, right?
Correct.
2 seasons.
My wife and I watched
season 2 was great.
My wife and I watched the first episode of season 2, and we were like, so we haven't seen the entire season 2.
I like season 2 was better than season 1.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Okay. All right. What else? You got anything else you want to
I love Rebecca Ferguson, man. She's hot.
Oh, she's great actress. Yeah. Yes. She's one of those like girl next doors or woman next doors. She's so intriguing. You fall in love with her.
She might be pretty good female James Bond.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Yep.
I'd like to see that. Mr. Mayhem is with Rebecca Ferguson.
You know who might be good as British is Andrew Garfield.
Oh, yes.
He's kind of skinny, but
skinny and young in my eyes for the Bond role. But yeah, I think he could be a really good and can play the role for the next 30 years.
The actor who was in The Gorge, Miles Teller, he really built himself up for.
Man, I was like,
my
wife is like, you mind freezing it right there when he's taking a shot?
Yeah. Did you ever see Whiplash? Which was
great movie.
If the chat room has not seen Whiplash, you have to. It's like note perfect.
Yes,
it's like almost a perfect movie with the story, the twists, the scripting, the dialogue, the tension, the acting. The twist at the end is so fucking good.
Oh, so good.
Yeah,
so good.
And J.K. Simmons.
The plot line. Yeah, briefly, the plot line is Miles Teller plays a aspiring drummer, and he comes under the tutelage of a really, really brain sick musical instructor who has him go through hell. I mean, if you think boot camp is bad, what he takes his kid through is really, really bad.
Horrible.
It really fucks with his head.
Complete asshole.
Oh my gosh.
One of the worst characters of all time. He's a bad guy.
Do you remember the name of the actor? Because he's
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
He played a white supremacist in Oz, the old HBO prison series.
Yep.
My God, I thought that was one of the most
good actor, man. He's so underrated, man.
He really is.
He's natural. He plays a guy who's like a musical genius. It's a jazz class,
right?
And everything has to be. He gets pissed off at people. He's like a drill sergeant. He's worse than a drill sergeant, man.
Yep.
And the hell that he puts his kid through, and then the kid fights back and all this. I don't want to give away anymore. But if you haven't seen Whiplash, man, you have to see Miles Teller learned to play the drums for the part. And after not knowing anything about drums, he kind of taught himself how to play drums. Played like hours a day practicing and stuff, just so he could make it look real. Now he didn't do everything, but he learned to play to make it real enough, for the movie and stuff. And they filmed that movie in it was like a week or two. It was real short. I remember the story behind it. They filmed it in it might have been 7 days. They filmed the movie, but great ending, man. It's fantastic.
In the movie we talked about earlier, The Gorge, he plays the drums in a scene in that movie.
Right.
Which
So does she. Yeah, they both play drums. Yeah. I wonder if have they seen it? The chat room seen? No
one's mentioned it.
No one's seen Whiplash, man.
So,
okay, Laval Nichols saw it.
Yeah. Okay. No, I haven't seen you around here much. What's going on? Man?
they talking about Rebecca Ferguson was great in Dr. Sleep. That's one of a Dan Aguirre movie. I know he loved Dr. Sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
She was great in that too, man. She was like evil.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. And
I have to admit that I've been watching Love is Blind. Your household is not a Love is Blind.
I don't know that one. What is Love is Blind?
It is a reality series on Netflix. It's a dating game,
That's
and
the one that the Bears players were talking about in the
right.
Yeah, Hard Knocks. They were talking about Love is Blind. Yeah.
Right. The premise of the show is, can you establish a relationship with a member of the opposite sex just by talking to them over a 2-week period? And there's a wall, and you just hear the voice of the person on the other side.
They don't know what they look like.
They don't know what they look like. So you try to establish an emotional connection. And if you do, and if you start to fall in love with that person, you ask them to get married. And then there's the reveal. They see what each other looks like. In some cases, people just turn around and run the other way. In some cases, they decide to give it a try. It's pretty good show. Interesting show.
I was recently I had to go, my brother and I, but my wife we're trying to get pictures of my mom for her funeral and stuff. So I haven't been able to bring myself to go through some of her things and stuff. It's one of the hardest things I've had to do.
Yeah.
I just but I finally did it. I found some pictures. My brother wanted one for her obituary, which would be online, Naperville Sun. So did some retouching on it and stuff. Looks pretty good.
Cool.
But yeah, it was so hard to go. I'm like her wedding album and stuff, and I'm just like, I wish that I could have gone through it with her.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm just like, I would have loved to have had, and the girls, the granddaughters, would have been great to go through it with her and say, oh, what was going on here, Ma? And stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
It's too late.
Yeah, I go through family pictures and can't figure out when was this taken? Who's that in this picture? I wish people were rolling the back.
What the fuck? Yeah. No, I know, stuff like that. But I got a ton of pictures to go through. My wife has a electronic picture frame where you can plug a USB drive into the side of it. It just kind of cycles through it.
Yep.
So I'm trying to put that together and stuff. My brother and my wife and I, and it's been tough, man. It's so hard to do that. Without getting emotional and stuff. But I got some of it together so far.
It's a good cry. That's one of those cries where it's because it's based on love, and so have yourself a couple of good cries, and then move on. Start evaluating players.
And we decided it'll be May 23rd. My hometown.
Oh, okay. So you coming to town here?
I'll be Naperville May 23rd. The local funeral home in Naperville. My mom's burial plot is around the corner at the cemetery there and stuff. So the ground's too hard now, and nobody wants to stand out in the cold. And my brother and I were thinking, well, it's just May. We'll catch a sunny day,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Cliff says my wife sends pics to her mom's picture frame in Colorado.
Oh, wow. Nice. Connect to it, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Tooch, tell us what you got going on the rest of the week on the bar.
Last weekend we were talking about Bruno Mars, or last week we were talking about Bruno Mars and how we thought was one of the great Super Bowl performances and stuff. And I'm like, you were talking about how you thought music. It's hard to get into modern music right now. There really aren't any artists, and I keep coming back to Bruno Mars is the artist of new artists, relatively new. I know he's kind of getting old now and stuff.
Yeah, he's been around for 10, 15 years.
His song with Lady Gaga.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? The name of the damn song, but it's a duet with Lady Gaga. My 6-year-old sings it. My wife videotaped her singing the song.
Oh, cool.
The lyrics are great too to that song. If you haven't heard it, let me see. Goddamn, I want to get the name of it. Do you know the song I'm talking about? His duet with Lady Gaga.
I've heard it, but I just heard it once. So because that
it's called "Die with a Smile."
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Didn't they perform that at like the Grammys recently?
Okay.
Yeah, I think they did.
Yep.
So Mayhem is asking about Kendrick Lamar's performance. We talked about that in
last
week's show.
I got to go back and watch it because I'll probably at least enjoy it. You know, I mean, like.
I think you might. I mean, you know, you gotta be a little bit empathic because it's definitely a music of protest and unhappiness the way things are, and maybe
it's not like catchy like Bruno.
No, it's not.
Right.
But I will say this: that Not Like Us diss track, which I'm learning now about this because I never really followed hip hop.
It's got a great beat.
Recently.
Yep.
Got a great beat. It's got a great fucking beat. So as I'm doing the research on the performance and on that song, I can't get that tune out of my head.
Yep. I have heard the song before, but I did not catch the Super Bowl halftime, just in passing.
Yeah.
You know, because I was getting food ready for the Super Bowl party I was at.
Right. So Friday, are you back on weekend sports betting? I know you were on last week.
No, we weren't on last week. It's like I got to talk to those guys. I want to do a show. Maybe tomorrow. I don't. It's like Anthony's. He's in the Dan Aguirre situation. You know, with like because he's doing 9/11 now, just like Dan Aguirre. You know, he's like the stories that he's been telling me too. He's like, I think I got someone killed. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, it's like he's got a different work schedule too and stuff. But you know, I want to talk some college basketball. At least
this is the time to make money. College basketball, man.
It's the time right now, man. From now until through March Madness, it's the time. I had to play the Maryland game versus USC today. I played Maryland team total over, and I hit. The Bulls ended up losing 113 to 111 in overtime tonight.
Oh my goodness! Who they play?
The Knicks.
Jeez.
Canada won 3-2 in overtime. Damn it.
You didn't lose any money tonight, did you?
No, I didn't really like any of the games. I liked the Maryland over USC. That was my top play. The Maryland team total over. I'm trying to find the game. I know it hit, but I just wanted to find out what they scored. Of course, I can't find it right now. I'm scrolling through that. There was a ton of games today. And like all the games I thought were like real close. You know, it turned out that they ended up being real close. Okay. Yeah, 85-79. I had Maryland team total over 81.5. That was my top play. Yeah, I mean, number was way too low.
Yeah.
You know, it was like they've been scoring like I put up 100 on Northwestern, you know. But what was I going to say? For the Bruno Mars, my 6-year-old was singing.
We're not ending the show with a big bang here, so I'm gonna put the plug on this episode of Bare Their Souls with Johnny Santucci, who you can find on Twitter at John Santucci VIP, and you can find me at Barroom Network. Tucci, you got your final four. Last question for you from Casey.
Man, we got to put Auburn in there, probably Houston. Depends on where they are in the brackets and stuff, but definitely Auburn, Houston. I mean, Alabama's a threat. Man, there's some dark horses too, man. I'll have more for you next week. Definitely Auburn and Houston, I think, will be there in the final four. National championship, man, I'm not sure. Auburn is so tough.
Yeah.
But Alabama's good again this year. They were in the final last year. Yeah, I love college basketball. It's a great time of year.
We got a good show for you next week. Tooch has booked a very special guest. We're going to talk football, and
I'm so excited.
Yeah, it should be a great show. Can't wait.
I always try to get guests, and they always just blow me off. They're like, "Fuck this guy." Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's what they're saying, but that's what it feels like, you know. When you
I hear you.
I tried to reach out to Harrison Graham because I like his little shorts and stuff for Bears Now, whatever it is. His voice is great. You know, not as good as Dan Aguirre, but it's up there. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy his Bears content and stuff. You know, he puts out a show like every day.
Yeah, that's his job. That's a shot. He generates income from his YouTube channel. Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. For Johnny
Aldo.
Santucci, I'm Aldo Gandia. We'll see you all next
great.
Goodbye.
I'm going to bed.